chasm of distrust can start building between supporters and groups like this that are preventing them from enjoying football.
As the Premier League returns, Gravenberch and Konate are expected to be fit for Liverpool's game with Man United on Sunday. Alisson is still injured, though. Now, Fulham's owners told talkSPORT he's in favour of a salary cap. Shahid Khan, who also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, says the salary cap keeps the NFL competitive. But unlike the NFL, Khan says there's no need to take Premier League games abroad.
Where the game is played, it has a huge amount of international following, and it's competitive. So I would kind of question really the need looking at it.
You can hear the interview with Shahid Khan on the talkSPORT Daily podcast. And Harry Brook has told talkSPORT he's got a point to prove to himself ahead of the Ashes.
In recent times, I've actually been a bit disappointed with the way I played in white ball cricket. I feel like I've been premeditating quite a lot, and there's one goal for me this series is just to try and play on instinct as much as possible.
England's white ball tour of New Zealand kicks off with tomorrow's T20 live on talkSPORT 2, and ball-by-ball commentary is on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
The NHS owes £60 billion in medical negligence claims, and it doesn't sound like Donald Trump will be handing Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles later. More with Emma at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, your go-to destination for quality tyres from great brands like Continental. Visit your local centre or quickfit.com and book today.
Another cloudy day for most of us. Patchy drizzle in the far north and east. That drizzle moving south later. A grey and windy weekend ahead.
Hello, very good morning to you. This is Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, and we're live on talkSPORT right the way through till 1 o'clock this afternoon. So Premier League football is back after the international break. Can Ange Postecoglou break free of mounting pressure at home to Chelsea this weekend? And will Manchester United make it 4 losses on the spin for champions Liverpool this Sunday? Meanwhile, fans of Maccabi Tel Aviv will not be allowed to attend their Europa League match against Aston Villa on the 6th of November due to safety concerns. We're chasing that story. Should sport unite rather than divide? We'll have more on that throughout the course of the morning. Also today, will Kevin Muscat be worth the wait for Rangers? What is a captain's secret to solving a dressing room feud? And could short-term pain be long-term gain for Sheffield Wednesday? This is Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, and we're live on talkSPORT. And a very good morning to you. Look, we know that there is a huge story that is breaking in regards to Maccabi Tel Aviv and Aston Villa, the supporters of Maccabi Tel Aviv being banned from their Europa League game on November the 6th. Ministers apparently today exploring reversing the ban after it prompted widespread condemnation from political leaders yesterday and lots of debate on social media. Let's hear off the bat from Will Geddes, the security specialist who's been speaking to our news reporter Nick Ellaby this morning, and he wants a little bit more openness about the decision. I was struggling to bring you that clip at this moment, but that was one of the things that he asked for, and we are going to spend the next 2 hours chasing that from police, council and other sources. We think it's better that we get to speak to people that are involved in the story rather than continuing the speculation behind the reason for the ban. So we will follow that up a little bit later on. I expect it around about 12 o'clock today. Morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
How are we? Missed you last week, Mr. Deeney. How are you?
Oh, yeah. Life's been taking over lately, but I'm here.
It's
I'm back.
great to have you. Great to have you back in the studio.
Thanks for having me again.
And Mr. Crook, are you excited about going to Liverpool on Sunday?
Going to try and forget I'm there for the next couple of days, to be honest. I've got a stag do to occupy my attention, so maybe not the best place to be on Sunday with a bit of a headache.
I just want to say thank you very much to the lads that came up to me in Riga Airport to talk about this show. Very kind. Thank you very much. That was over the last week or so. And thank you very much to the guy at Gatwick on Wednesday who pointed out to me that I'd left my laptop on the plane. Because without him, I probably wouldn't have realised until I got halfway up the motorway. I would say I was disorientated because I'd done so much travelling, and that's why I made a massive mistake. But I think it's actually more likely to do with the dive bar in Riga that I was in until 3 a.m. playing up a made-up game, which we affectionately called Latvian chess. There you go.
Get amongst it with the England fans.
It was good fun.
Even though you were sat in the posh seats on the plane, you are still a man of the people. Well done.
It wasn't posh. I was on Air Baltic.
You're in the front row, weren't you? Extra leg room. Not that you need it.
The Premier League is back. We've got Forest Chelsea live on talkSPORT 12:30 tomorrow. Reshmin Chowdhury, Stuart Pearce and I will be there from 11 o'clock. We'll get stuck into that very soon. Game Day Live comes on Sunday from Liverpool against Manchester United. Crook and I will be there for that one. A game that has been particularly one-sided over the course of the last few years. Fulham face leaders Arsenal. They've conceded just one goal from open play so far in the Premier League. There's massive games at the bottom of the table as well for those who might be facing relegation fears. Burnley, Leeds, Sunderland, Wolves, West Ham, Brentford. Start of a massive month for those teams because they all play each other over the next few weeks. What's the one thing that tickles your fancy, Troy, from this weekend?
The game I'm at, Burnley Leeds. I think it's a massive game.
Goalfest?
Potentially, because Burnley have to come. They can't sit back in and try and draw like they have been. They're going to have to come out. Leeds have been really strong and powerful now, and are they going to be in a position to go now and really kick on? And I've been there when you have a good start. You've got to start winning those games, and you start going into those games thinking, right, we beat these, we kill them, we're 6 points ahead, we're moving on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just think for Burnley now, you get into that little bit of a moment like, when's it going to happen? So I think it's going to be a really interesting game. There's loads of little games, obviously the Liverpool United game, but I think people would say that Liverpool should win at a canter. I think that's going to be high scoring. I really do.
Well, yeah.
I'm interested to see whether Mainu plays, because when you look at it, I think he has to play. My big area of concern for Man United is at midfield, as you know. And I think Liverpool could run all over him in that midfield. I really do.
And actually, there's some serious data that backs up that argument.
You're right.
Just
Not dive bar again.
What's your big takeaway from the weekend?
Obviously, Liverpool United, for me, is still the biggest game in English football. Obviously, United not what they once were, but I think it'll be the most watched game around the world this season. I'm quite intrigued by Arsenal at Fulham because they've had their issues at Craven Cottage in the past. Fulham unbeaten at home this season. I think Arsenal will win. I think this is another potential test at the start of a huge week because they've got Fulham this weekend, Atletico Madrid at home in the Champions League, and then Palace next weekend. So I think we're going to learn a lot more about Arsenal over the next 7 or 8 days.
And they go to Prague straight after that as well. So it's been a busy time for them. Forest Chelsea is going to be rather interesting, isn't it? It's live on talkSPORT tomorrow, and your old mate Ange Postecoglou is under the cosh a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, really. If you're going to make a managerial change and then 7 games in, all right, no wins, you're potentially going to reverse that decision. You're in danger of making yourself look very foolish. But I would draw comparisons to Ange Postecoglou to Russell Martin at Rangers in some ways, in that the Forest fans didn't want him in the first place. The fact he's winless after 7 games, probably going to be winless after 8, given that they've not beaten Chelsea at home since 1997. I think the atmosphere could turn quite toxic tomorrow.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that first. 03717 223344. Ange Postecoglou's not won since taking over at Forest. He's never won against Chelsea. That's our first stop on the football trail as it comes back this weekend to Premier League action. If you want to have your say, what's the situation if you're a Nottingham Forest fan? Because I think probably the idea of an international break is quite comforting, really, for Nottingham Forest fans. After 7 games without a win, a bit of time maybe for Ange to get his plans in place. The issue is that I think 12 players have been out on international duty. So it's been very difficult to work with what would be considered to be the first team over that period. So he probably hasn't had too many training sessions with those that he wants to keep around.
Yeah, but I think it's not about necessarily the players. It's about the principles. Andrews always talks about how he scores and he's going to be, front-footed and attacking. They've scored one Premier League goal since he's been in. One. And that was against Burnley in the draw. 3-0 loss to Arsenal, 1-1 draw, 1-0 loss to Sunderland and a 2-0 loss to Newcastle. So his philosophy and his messaging now is it's got to either be changed or he's got to have this come out and be really front-footed against Chelsea because you'll start losing the lads as well.
But it's slightly unfair, isn't it? Because he was parachuted in during a run of 6 games in 23 days. He has got a huge squad to assess. Some of those actually that weren't being used even under Nuno Espirito Santo because he couldn't deal with the sheer volume of new players that were coming into the squad. He's got to juggle with those. He's charged with changing the style from pragmatic to a slightly more progressive style, although that process had started to change under Nuno Espirito Santo slightly. How is Postecoglou expected to produce results in those circumstances in that time frame?
I think he's gone from FA Sam to LMA Sam. They were 2-0 up against Swansea in the League Cup and lost. They played Midtjylland at home and lost. Troy's mentioned they played Burnley and didn't manage to beat them. They played Sunderland at home and lost. Do you think Nuno Espirito Santo would have lost all those games?
No, but I think Nuno Espirito Santo had a backstory and a wealth of experience with those players, and his methods had already been communicated to them. This is a guy who's changing the way that they operate.
Yeah, and I'll give you that point. But again, what have you seen in those games that make you believe that there's change? Because sometimes you can be in a good...
I'm not saying that I believe it. I'm saying...
No, I mean as a fan.
How can you, as the owner of that football club, determine that there is going to be this change, decide on a direction of travel, implement that change during a period where that manager cannot work with his players and expect that change to be affected immediately?
No, I make that point, but you have made the change, right? So now you have to assess it in the situation of where you currently lie. What are you hanging your hat on? We're not scoring goals. We're conceding goals. We're losing games. As you say, we haven't found our starting 11 yet. Hasn't even found his formation yet. I can make an argument saying they don't win. They don't win until the 27th of November. They go Chelsea, Porto, Bournemouth, Man United, Sturm Graz, Leeds, Liverpool. I can make an argument they don't win until the...
So what do you do?
Well, you got to either stick or twist, haven't you? You've got to give him the time.
What do you do?
What I would do would actually look at it now and go, what's worth my pride or staying in the Premier League and staying in the competition?
You think it's that start that if they don't make a change, they might end up fighting?
I just don't have anything to follow. I'm looking at it, and if I'm a Forest fan, I have no skin in the game. I don't really care either way.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, what am I hanging my hat on? The manager doesn't give me anything to believe in. What I'm watching, I don't have anything to believe in. I've seen us been winning for so long. I've also seen Ange Postecoglou last year lose 22 games.
That was going to be my point. What was the selection process? What credentials did Ange really have to come in? Because
he was winning in Europe, wasn't it?
So many games.
But he was winning in Europe,
League.
And he's not doing that.
Well, the other, I suppose, facet is that he plays a progressive style of football, which the owner wants Nottingham Forest.
But then the talk is that if he does make a change, then Sean Dyche is a contender. So that's not progressive.
But this is more of an issue about the hierarchy of the football club rather than it is the manager.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It was a needless decision. I understand there were tensions between Nuno and Evangelos Marinakis, but a lot of those tensions stemmed around the fact, and I've spoken about this, that Nuno knew that Marinakis was looking elsewhere for a potential replacement. That's why he came out and gave
some of the tensions to do with
that
Edu.
press conference. Edu as well. But it's all unnecessary. You know, Forest fans have just had the season of their lifetime. The best season since the 1990s. They're back in Europe. And all that feel-good factor has very quickly been taken away by the decisions the board have made. They've not even sold out all their tickets for their next home game in Europe.
So, what do you do next? Do you pull the ripcord? Is it already emergency time for Nottingham Forest? Forest fans, 03717 223344. That's the number to call. The big game this weekend for us is 12:30 tomorrow, Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. It's live on talkSPORT. We're also going to talk a little bit later on about Liverpool against Manchester United. Crook and I will be there for that. And Rangers have got a new boss as well. If you want to get involved, WhatsApp us 03717 223344. You can text us 81089. We'd love to hear from you. This is talkSPORT with Sam Matterface, Alex Crook, Troy Deeney. We're with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go. talkSPORT, Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. Senior government officials are meeting today to discuss Maccabi Tel Aviv fans being banned from attending a football game against Aston Villa next month. The minister says officials, including the culture secretary, will meet to see if there is a way through the ban after PM Keir Starmer called it wrong. More details on that throughout the course of the morning. Bit of breaking news from Enzo Maresca's press conference this morning, in which he has said that Cole Palmer is out for a further 6 weeks. He's been suffering with this persistent groin injury, Troy, and it's an injury that he has kept him out of England squads. It's kept him out of Chelsea games. It's obviously took him out of the West Ham game after the warm-up, and then had a recurrence of it during the Manchester United match and had to come off in the first 20 minutes. They say he doesn't need surgery, but is it sometimes better just to get these things done? Can you understand why they would be delaying it?
Yeah, it fully depends on what the ramifications are of surgery, because it might be a case of they have to shorten the tendon or shave a bit off, which then can still add to more problems in terms of his flexibility and stuff moving forward. And the problem you also have when you get injured, your body works in opposite. So if you do something on the right side, the left side becomes weaker. So yeah, maybe there's just a few things they need to watch and take care of. I'm always concerned when it's a reoccurring of the same injury. That does seem to lend itself that maybe, they're putting off the inevitable. And for England and especially for Chelsea, their best player in a World Cup year is really, really tough.
That makes it nightmare timing, doesn't it, for Palmer? Because we've obviously spoken about how well England have done in the last couple of camps. Thomas Tuchel has sort of been saying, if you've got the shirt, it's yours to keep. And at a time when Cole Palmer needs to be playing, improving himself to the England manager, obviously he's kicking his heels on the sidelines.
He does play for Chelsea, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Oh, cynical. No comment from the Chelsea fans. All right.
Chelsea take on Nottingham Forest tomorrow. Troy, you've been at a club where a manager's future is never really secure. Explain what will be happening in the Nottingham Forest dressing room with all this talk about Ange Postecoglou and the possibility of him being replaced this early.
Great question. There'll be sections of groups. So there'll be a group now that's going, right, we owe the manager, we've got to put our performance better and be, and I would, if just characterise, I'd say someone like Yates, Elliot Anderson, those boys would be the ones driving it, go, right, we've let ourselves down, never mind the manager. There'll be a group of people that are not really involved or playing, so they're going, well, he's gone next, and, hopefully the next one will be my turn up. And then there'll be some in the middle that the leaders at the front have to drag along and be like, right, come on then, because if they start the game well, the guys in the middle will go with the front ones. If they start the game poorly, they all go to the back. So it's a real weird time, a really interesting time. The players and the characters that you pick in these matches, I always think are the most important now. It's not necessarily your best players that play, but it's the ones that are going to be 7, 8 out of 10 each week. You got to stick those boys in.
In terms of Nottingham Forest and their pursuit of other targets, should the relationship with Ange Postecoglou come to an end, what more whispers have you been hearing or fielding this week?
I was to say, Sean Dyche is the big one, and that would very much be a change of style and maybe an appointment with an eye on a potential relegation battle, which I don't think Forest fans necessarily saw coming. Brendan Rodgers is intriguing. I know it's difficult because Steve Cooper was never really welcomed at Leicester because of the Nottingham Forest connection, but I am told that he's someone that long-term Marinakis potentially would like to bring in, and his contract at Celtic is up at the end of the season. You've heard the same whispers that I have, that maybe Brendan will decide the time is right to leave Celtic Park for a second time, and there's going to be a few Premier League jobs available for him, but I certainly wouldn't rule out Forest.
Chelsea tomorrow without a couple of players who have got knocks and issues. We mentioned Cole Palmer. They've had a lot of players on international duty as well. They need to back up their victory over Liverpool in this game against Nottingham Forest, don't they? Because their away form has not been good in 2025.
Yeah, I was talking about it yesterday. I think I'm starting to get a bit worried for Chelsea, why they only get up for the big games. The games that they get written off against, the PSGs, your Liverpools, they step up and they play their best. The concerning games are the likes of Forest for me, where we're all expecting, if Chelsea play, they're much better every player on squad in every position, arguably the goalkeeper not. But in every other position, they're better. And I think if they all play 8 out of 10, they win 4-0 comfortably. But will we get the same performance? I'm not sure. And that's the worry for me. You're a Chelsea fan. Are you not frustrated by that?
Look, we spoke about this privately many a time, that I'm still yet to be completely convinced by the whole process that Chelsea are going through, which is this recruitment of younger players and no experience in the team. That's a worry for me, because I think even if you think that Chelsea are trying to copy some sort of Brighton model, you would expect that you wouldn't be too far away from assessing that is the case, bearing in mind they've hired everybody that used to work in the Brighton recruitment department. But Brighton have always sprinkled experience alongside their very good young recruitment and recruitment from places around the world who take a little bit of time to settle into the Premier League. Now, Chelsea have been brilliant in terms of they brought in Esteban Willian, who is absolutely at the top of the game and is, I would expect, to be a world superstar going forward. He's only 18. He's settled into the Premier League and the Brazilian national team brilliantly, absolutely superbly. But I think he still needs experience around him. And there is a little bit of that. I suppose you would say Enzo Fernandez is now more of an experienced player, but he's still in his early 20s. Cole Palmer's in his early 20s. He's one of the leaders of the group. Levi Colwill arguably will end up being the captain of the club. He's 22 years of age.
How would you assess João Pedro? Because obviously he came in, joined them at the Club World Cup, was brilliant in that tournament, started the season well as well, got a few goals early in the season, but again, you talk about lack of consistency. Is he suffering from that as well? Is he hitting the heights that you expected him to at the moment?
He actually is, but he's suffering from the injuries. Because remember, he played as a 9 against PSG with Cole Palmer behind him and everybody else doing the job, so he was getting fed the ball. The start of this season, it was the lap up top with João in the 10. Against Man United, he played the 10, the 9, left and right. So I would say he has hit the heights because he's been excellent. But at this moment in time, again, the last two games, he two players sent it off, got down to 10 men. It's very difficult for a striker in those situations to even contribute. So I think so. I think he's done.
Got himself sent off as well, didn't he, in the Champions League? Yeah,
but that's part of João's game. Are you still of the belief that Brighton don't miss him at all, or?
Brighton missed something up top. I'm speaking to you as a frustrated fantasy football manager. João Pedro has been in my team since the start of the season. He's not getting me many points.
But Chelsea aren't getting. Chelsea are not scoring enough goals. And one of the reasons that they are scoring goals is set pieces. They've improved in terms of their set pieces. They've got a set piece coach, Bernardo Cueva, who came in at the end of the Pochettino era. It's taken him a little while to actually get behind the desk and sort Chelsea out. And actually, Enzo Maresca has talked about this today. Their output from set pieces has been so much better this season, and he's completely in charge of those. But that does, I think, sort of mask the fact that from open play, they aren't scoring that many goals.
Well, I've been at a few games, and the Brighton game was a perfect example of this. While it was 11v11, in the first half, Chelsea battered Brighton. Battered them. They're going at 1-0. They should have been going in at 3 and 4 and 5s. My concern...
Because they missed chances, or because they didn't
just that ruthlessness, though.
The ruthlessness.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And again, like you talk about created chances, opportunities where it's like that good pass, he's in 1v1, taking too many touches. But if you're going to keep buying young and keep trying to develop, at what point does it cross over and it becomes winning? Because you're always going to keep buying young, and you say, well, we need to build this team and grow together.
The argument would be they've won the World Club Cup. They've won the Conference League. They've started winning. They've put trophies on the board. That's the first step in the development of that young team, isn't it?
I can take that as an argument. But what if that's the case, then why is this season all about just finishing in the top 4?
To maintain their presence in the Champions League.
But that's not a step forward.
Well, it is, because last season they weren't playing in the Champions League.
It's not a step forward, is it? Because you're going to be in exactly the same position you was yesterday, minus the last year, minus the trophies.
But aren't we asking? But aren't we asking for a little bit too much acceleration over a short space of time with players that are still?
No, I don't think you can have that argument when the level of spend that you've had. I don't think you can.
And also, if you look at the league table, and I appreciate it's very early.
Yeah.
Bournemouth are above Chelsea in the table. Tottenham, under a new manager, have made a better start to the season than Chelsea. I think a lot of people are letting Enzo Maresca off the hook a little bit.
03717 2233 44 if you want to contribute to the debate. 81089 on the text. We'd love to hear from you. We concede far too many goals. The words of Arne Slot ahead of their game against Manchester United. We'll do that next with the Crookmeister, who's very excited about going to Anfield on Sunday.
Birmingham MP Sakib Bharti says banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park next month paints Birmingham in a terrible light. West Midlands police say their decision is based on current intelligence and past events. Well, the Prime Minister calls that a serious mistake, and journalist Dan Levine wants Sir Keir Starmer to do more.
It came on a day when the Prime Minister also in the morning said that he would do absolutely anything possible to protect Jewish people on the streets of the United Kingdom. So, as I say, the ball is very much in his court.
Well, we're now told senior government figures are meeting today to address what they call this completely and utterly unacceptable decision. Now, Fulham's owner has told talkSPORT he's in favour of a salary cap. Shahid Khan also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He says the salary cap keeps the NFL competitive and would do the same for the Premier League.
Why is it by far the most successful soccer or, English football league in the world? Competition. You have competitive balance. And I think those rules keep the competitive balance.
And Owen Farrell isn't expected to take part in England's autumn internationals, but according to The Telegraph, the door will remain open for a possible return to the team before the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. For more on these, head to talksport.com.
Good morning to you. Sam Matterface with Deeney and Crook. Do you want the chance to win up to £100,000? Then listen up. It's our biggest cash prize yet, and we're going all out. A massive £100,000, completely tax-free. Could be yours. Listen up, because this is how you can enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Despite the fact that it's been a little bit one-sided over the course of the last few years, it's still the biggest game in English football, isn't it? Liverpool-Man United?
I would say so. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but they are the two most decorated clubs in English football. So I think in terms of
FA Cup game
in terms of global appeal, it's massive, and probably means more to United fans these days potentially than it does to Liverpool supporters. But they won't want to lose 4 in a row at home to United.
Still the biggest game for you in English football?
Sure. It will be on history, won't it? But it's not a fair contest at this moment in time.
Well, even if Troy doesn't believe it, certainly all eyes will be on that game on Sunday, and all eyes will be on the defence of Liverpool. 2 clean sheets in 11 games, and Arne Slot has been commenting on that this morning.
If we compare ourselves to last season, we don't create as many chances as we did last season, in the start of last season. But we are still the team that from open play creates the most XG chances, most shots on target. But we've conceded too many goals. We've conceded too many goals, that's for sure. And we've conceded 9, where 4 of them are from set pieces. That is what was and still is, by the way, a strength of us, which sounds weird if you concede 4, but that's not a reflection of the chances we've conceded.
How do Manchester United, how and where do Manchester United expose the fragilities in that Liverpool defence?
Left-hand side, for me. Milos Kerkez. A lot's been made of the form of Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak not being fit, but I think Kerkez has struggled in the early weeks as well. And if you look at the Sunderland game, while he didn't change the system, there was a subtle tweak from Ruben Amorim. The team went a lot longer. They used the goalkeeper to particularly punt it long upfield and set Brian Mbeumo away down that right-hand side. So if United are to get anything from this game, I think that's a real key battleground.
Yeah, it's fair. The keeper was very good. Obviously, I worked that game. The keeper was very good.
Senna Lomans against Sunderland.
But also, I've never been at a professional ground, where a goalkeeper gets a standing ovation for claiming a cross.
It just tells you how bad Nana and outside.
Yeah, he came out and claimed the first cross, and everyone stood up and was cheering. I agree. I think Kirk has the shirts got a little bit too big for him at this moment in time. The being at Bournemouth and being at Liverpool is completely different. I'm more concerned about the system for the first time ever being a problem.
It's not a problem, is it?
No, it's not normally a problem, but the reason it will be a problem in this situation is because I think the more the game gets stretched, Man United allow that three at the back to be 1v1, and that's where I think it'll be a problem, because Man, you don't have the legs in midfield to get up and down, and that's where I said earlier, I think Mainu has to play.
Is it system or is it personnel? Because actually the data shows that while Manchester United actually have been very good at limiting opponents to relatively few shooting opportunities over the course of their Premier League games so far, the quality of those chances has been alarmingly high, and that sort of suggests the systemic defensive flaws are prevalent rather than bad luck. Opponents aren't shooting very often, but when they do, they're getting big openings. I mean, why is that? Vulnerable on transition, we've seen that many a time. They're susceptible at set pieces, that's a real problem. And when the wing-backs push forward, there's just too many gaps.
Yeah, I think the set-piece one to me is amazing, because they work on it literally in the warm-up. Don't they? They do it for everyone to show, look, we're working on it. And it's like, again, for me, it has to be a personnel thing. Where
a lot of that was about the goalkeeper. I mean, I was at Fulham watching outside Bayern there. Every time they put a corner or a free kick into the penalty area, he was a nervous wreck. I think this goalkeeper already is instilling more confidence in the defence.
Yeah, I agree with that. But the one thing that stat didn't show, because obviously he didn't touch the ball, but the Traore chance very early on for Sunderland, 6 yards out, just completely air kicked.
He was offside though, wasn't he?
But I'm saying, if he hits that, he makes contact, and that chance, they give up massive chances. The lad defensively, for me, is a liability. He is, and he's a great squad player. I'm sure we trained.
Nice Delict.
No,
Diogo Dalot.
Dalot. Sorry, Dalot.
He's been poor since the start of last season.
But he's not of the standard of a starting fullback for Manchester United. He's a great squad player, someone who'll train one and you drop him in and out. But he's been playing nearly
every
3 seasons in a row.
Was he player of the season last year?
No, he was poor last year.
Was the season before he was player of the season?
3 seasons in a row, he's playing week in, week out, and I watch him, and defensively, he's questionable. He's very, very questionable. And I do think that Liverpool, because Gravenberch is back, he's fit and available, do worry about Fernandes being ran off the back of.
And it's interesting you talk about Kobbie Mainoo. Obviously, I've been banging this drum for a long time now. He was particularly good in this fixture last season, which for me was the most complete performance United have produced under Ruben Amorim. It was a 2-2 draw. You were there. United were the better team for a lot of that game, and Liverpool were at the peak of their powers then. He played well against them in the FA Cup, that incredible game that you commentated. So I agree with Troy. I think Amorim's got to look past this sort of blind spot that he's got for not picking Kobbie Mainoo and realise that if you need legs in midfield,
he can do that. Though, hasn't he? Because Kobbie Mainoo has been posted on Instagram that he's been working in international break.
I hate it when players do that.
No, do you not know that's where they get the extra working? So, yeah, he's definitely got to be better.
I think what's really concerning is United's trend of performing in these massive games, right? So against Chelsea, they played really well, albeit they're usually at home. They played well against Arsenal on the opening day. Didn't get the result that day. They deserve more out of that match. And they got a point, as we've already mentioned, in January at Anfield. So why do these games suit them more? Is it for the fact that there is a slightly different setup and they're slightly more exposed to it? Or is it just because they want to show up in the big games and show off their talent?
First and foremost, naturally, they're going to step up. It's the bigger game, so you're going to have that emotional feel. Excuse me. Secondly, the other teams come on to them. The problem Man United have at the moment is because they don't have control of that midfield, they can't play through teams. So, like you said to your point against Sunderland, they had to jump that with a goalkeeper. They missed the midfield straight into Šeško, who's getting better, by the way, showed a bit more confidence. Got a couple of goals, obviously. But
who do you think is the better start, Šeško or your mate Gyökeres?
You say my mate.
Why is he his mate?
He's not his biggest fan, is he?
I would say Gyökeres had a better start. I would say. But Šeško is developing.
We were talking, weren't we, after the game against Sunderland, and you were saying to me that actually he looks more confident, he has more swagger about him in this game than he has done up until that point.
The international break probably come at a bad time for him because he's just got back-to-back. He probably wants to keep going. But again...
Especially since Slovenia drew 0-0 twice.
Who were they? Who were they playing?
Kosovo, I think, one game.
Kosovo have done all right in that group, beaten Sweden a couple of times.
It doesn't help his goal scoring record, though, does it?
Well, that was,
you got.
By the way, that little bit there was so pointless.
No, but you've got to put it into context. You can't.
Thanks for that.
You can't say he's not scored for Slovenia because obviously Slovenia are normally going to be the inferior team.
What?
They are, aren't they? They're not exactly well beat as Slovenia. So how many chances did he miss in those 2 games?
Well, no one said they did miss chances.
Anyway, the point I was getting at is that I agree to your point. The front three need to be better. I'd be interested to see whether he starts Bruno in there as well. Because even Sunderland players were running off the back of him.
How did he get on in the international break?
I don't know, mate.
Crook, can you give us some information about that?
They drew 2-2 with Hungary, didn't they?
Okay, did he get run off the back of during that match?
I don't know. I didn't watch
Boy Pully, did you have a bet on in that match?
No, I did. I backed Portugal at the weekend and they scored in the last minute against Ireland.
Florian Wirtz got a staunch defence from
everybody.
His manager, Julian Nagelsmann, during the international break. He's yet to register a goal or an assist in the Premier League so far this season, despite having 9 shots and creating 11 chances. His 20 combined shots and chances, actually the most of any player yet to score an assist in the Premier League so far this season. How does it affect a player coming into a new environment when it hasn't quite clicked?
He's not going to be the first. He definitely won't be the last. The big one for me, I remember as a kid, was Veron going to Man United. And undoubted talent and ability, just never really fit the system. And I think you talk to, like, you see the guys now, the older Man United players, they probably say like the system didn't fit him. We didn't play to his strengths at that time. And I just think when I'm looking at Wirtz, I think they don't get the ball to him quick enough. Liverpool now, they're trying to have a build up and a pattern of play. That's nice, but he gets into some lovely areas and they've just got to keep firing the ball and get him on the half-turn and driving forward. I also think it doesn't help that the front three haven't really been firing this year as well. So there's a lot for Liverpool now where all the excuses seem to have gone out the window. They have to go out the window. 2 international breaks, everyone's up to speed, everyone's playing games. They've got to start delivering now.
I'm not one for patience, you know that, and I quite often rush to judgment.
Really?
But I think with Wirtz, you've got to give him a bit of time. I remember Dennis Bergkamp when he first joined Arsenal. First 10 games, everyone said he was a disaster of a signing. You speak to Arsenal fans now, a lot of them would say he's their best ever player. I remember you giving Didier Drogba a rather unfortunate nickname in his first season at Chelsea. And he went on to do okay as well.
He did. He had a bad start, but he went on to do very well indeed. Obviously, one of the greatest players, one of the greatest strikers.
Even Ronaldo, early on, when he was that sort of wispy teenager, he got a lot of stick for being a bit of a show pony, taking too many touches. So it doesn't necessarily happen overnight.
Okay, Manchester United go to Liverpool this Sunday. Game Day Live. We'll keep you updated. We kick off at 1:30, that game 4:30, and we'll keep you in touch with everything that happens around the sporting universe on Sunday afternoon. Join us for that. This is talkSPORT. Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney, and we're with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface with Alex Crook and Troy Deeney. We're here right the way through until 1 o'clock this afternoon. The fans of Israeli club Maccabi Tel Aviv will not be allowed to attend the Europa League match between Aston Villa and their club because of safety concerns. The West Midlands Police has concerns about its ability to deal with any potential protests, and the safety group, the body responsible for issuing safety certificates for matches, has informed Aston Villa that no travelling fans will be permitted at the match in Birmingham on November the 6th. Politicians from both sides of the spectrum have claimed the decision is wrong. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has criticised the move, saying, "We will not tolerate anti-Semitism on our streets." And the role of the police was to ensure all football fans can enjoy the game without fear of violence or intimidation. Kemi Badenoch, the leader of the opposition, said it was a national disgrace and that the Prime Minister and his government should guarantee that Jewish fans can walk into any football stadium in this country. Now, first of all, this is a multifaceted situation. It's not black and white as much as social media and politicians would love it to be. No one wants the safety of any fan put at risk. But at the same time, we shouldn't be bullied into more division or pushed that way because it is easier. By allowing this to happen, we're arguably giving in to prejudice. Prejudice in whatever forms is divisive, it's harmful, and there is too much of it in the world, and we don't need to add fuel to the fire. And are we not in danger of setting a precedent here? At the same time, I'm absolutely certain that the West Midlands Police aren't inherently anti-Semitic and wouldn't have acted unless there was a real threat of violence. How would we be, for example, if fights broke out during the match, after the match, before the match, around it? If there was violence on the streets of Birmingham surrounding the game, would we sit here the next morning, the Friday morning after that, and ask the question, why on earth was this allowed to happen? Let's speak to the chairman of the Aston Villa Jewish Supporters Group, who joins us now. His name is Andrew Fox. He's a military and defence analyst. And good morning. Welcome to the programme.
Hi, Sam. Great. Thank you for inviting me.
What was your reaction initially to the ban of Maccabi Tel Aviv fans by the Safety Advisory Group ahead of this game on November the 6th?
Well, initially, I'm just really sad. Look, football, it should be a unifying thing. You know, it's a language that goes beyond borders and brings people together. And I'd much rather the conversation here was about whether Morgan Rogers is going to rediscover his form or whether John McGinn's going to score another banger like he did in Rotterdam. You know, that's what I want to be talking about. And unfortunately, the politicisation of this issue is now dominating their headlines, and that's just a really sad thing.
Why do you call it politicisation? Do you not believe that there is an inherent threat to the safety of the community, and the West Midlands Police have just acted on that evidence?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. But that threat comes from the politicisation of you know, the Gaza war and the very strong feelings on both sides that come about from that. And look, we saw what happened in Amsterdam. You know, we know that that attack was planned in advance, and there were WhatsApp groups of 900 members, and they were bussing people in from across the Netherlands to attack the Maccabi fans. And if there's a repeat threat of that, then clearly that is a huge security concern. But it also means that by cancelling the Maccabi fans' attendance, that means that the mob win. You know, the people making these threats win, and that's a really dangerous place to be, I think.
Do you think, as we heard earlier on from a security correspondent, that what we need is a little bit more transparency around the evidence that has caused this decision to be made?
Yeah, that would be really useful because, you know, we're all coming to very strong opinions in the dark to a certain extent. And I'm as guilty of that as anyone else. But if you look at my notifications on X, I've even had death threats over this issue. Someone threatened to stab me if I went to the game. You know, that's the level of kind of hatred we're seeing at the moment. And that's, like I said, that's a really dangerous place to be. And if as so often the police were a little bit more transparent as to what the threat is, we could then make a reasonable assessment as to whether this decision is the correct one or not.
Do you think that there is a reaction here to incidents that happened 2 years ago when missiles were thrown at police by Legia Warsaw fans? 3 officers were injured during disorder outside the Villa Park Stadium. How much of that has influenced this decision and a desire not to see a repeat of it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember those scenes. I remember the condiments from a hot dog stand getting thrown into the gap in the hot end. You know, the bottom line here is law and order is the most important thing. And our police force needs to not back down in the face of threats. It needs to stand up and make sure that anyone who is acting in that incredibly illegal and unpleasant manner gets dealt with properly. I don't think the answer is dodging the problem. I think the answer is making sure that we put a strong police presence on the streets and keep fans from both sides safe.
Well, we've asked West Midlands Police to come on the programme, and as of yet, we haven't had a response from them. But I imagine that they would say that they don't have the resources to be able to police an event of this magnitude. Now, actually, they were concerned about cuts a year ago. They did have extra funding that was approved at the end of August. 150 extra officers have been deployed on the streets of Birmingham as a result of that. Should they be in a position to be able to deal with this sort of event? And if they can't deal with this sort of event, how is Birmingham going to host the Euro 2028 European Championships?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly that. And, the police in London frequently get what they call mutual aid from other police forces around the country. And we've seen that with all the marches and demonstrations. You frequently see, West Mids officers, Hertfordshire officers, Thames Valley on the streets of London supporting the Met. Mm-hmm. So I don't see why that can't happen in Birmingham for this game.
Yeah, Andrew, obviously, I'm from Birmingham, as you know. It's disappointing, isn't it? Let's be honest. It's just disappointing that we don't know what's going on. A lack of communication is always at the heart of all of these things, where people have to then make judgment calls, I suppose, of very limited information. I just want to know, from your point of view, what would you see as the best solution for this? Because I keep hearing a lot of the why this shouldn't happen or why this should happen. I don't really hear too much solutions from people. I just wonder whether you could articulate that better than me.
Yeah, well, I was in Rotterdam 2 weeks ago. I think the answer feels like the way that we were treated there. We had a sterile area to go to drink in before the game. Mm-hmm. There was dedicated transport that only we were on. The police took us onto the train, took us off. We were held in the stadium after the game till all the other fans had disappeared. And then we had to take a certain specific transport back to Rotterdam if we wanted to go and carry on the festivities. So, that was a fully sterile experience. We didn't have really any interaction with the locals at all. We were able to sing whatever we wanted in a safe bubble. And there was no trouble whatsoever. So that seems to me like a reasonably sensible way of solving the problem. I don't think, shutting the fans out is the way forward.
No, I agree on that. But even just hearing you talk there about an away trip to Rotterdam, obviously scene of Villa's greatest ever moment, the fact that you're being kept apart from the final fans, you're not mixing, I find that really sad, actually, because as you've said already at the top of this interview, football should be an opportunity to unite people, and it just seems increasingly, particularly when it comes to these European games and UEFA matches, that it's becoming a form of division, fueling hate, I think, in this case. Why can't two sets of football fans mix together? Is there any great animosity between Feyenoord and Aston Villa? Surely not.
No, I don't think so. I believe they do have a sort of fairly strong ultras component, but we didn't really see any trouble at all. And Villa's not a violent fan base, as Troy well knows. We'll sing the odd rude song, but that's about as far as it goes. So yeah, it does make me sad that we can't.
Well, obviously, this is a much deeper issue, but
the next day I was in Rotterdam waiting for my flight home. I went to a bar. The barman was a Feyenoord fan who'd been at the game, and we had just a good chat about it and shared a beer. So that's the way it should be. But unfortunately, the real world.
And I think there are examples where we do have issues, and I think we've mentioned a couple of those. But largely, when you think about the number of matches that are taking place on a week-to-week basis, I mean, most of it is, as you've already described. We were in Riga earlier in the week. It was a fantastic atmosphere. The mixing with the locals was not a problem for the England supporters. There was no trouble. Everybody was enjoying the local hospitality. A lot of football supporters go away with their clubs and have very positive experiences. And I think our job is to make people feel as welcome as possible when they come to this country and come to sample our culture as well, because we want to be able to go and do that elsewhere. I mean, unless there is overwhelming evidence that there is a threat to public safety, and in those extreme circumstances, if that is the case, it should be communicated so that people can understand it, because where there is a vacuum of information, that is where speculation lies. And that is why we find ourselves in this situation where you're getting the messages that you're getting. No doubt we're getting messages as we speak now coming through about what we're saying on this programme, because it is a very divisive situation. But you can only stop that division if you make attempts to heal it.
Yeah, and also, before Andrew comes back on that, they could actually have the opposite effect of what they're trying to do, because one of the questions I'd like to ask the police, and I don't expect them to join us between now and 1 o'clock, I think they're going to go rather into hiding. How are they going to stop away fans buying tickets in the home end? Because as far as I know, the home end isn't sold out. How are they going to stop fans without tickets travelling to Birmingham anyway? And you could find yourself in a situation where pockets of trouble break out elsewhere in Birmingham, where actually, if you're better off trying to just police one area inside a football stadium, that could be better.
You would anticipate, though, that they would have thought about that before making this decision, wouldn't you, Andrew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would. And, this is a multi-agency group, the SAG. They'll consult the local council. I was speaking on Radio 5 this morning. They've consulted the local mosque. I'd be really interested how much kind of Jewish input they had into that group, and whether there was a sort of balancing opinion when they were coming to this decision. But like you say, we need to see the intelligence, or we need to at least be told what the threat is. And then we need to decide whether we actually want to back down to that threat or not. If Maccabi fans are going to face a mob trying to hunt them like they had in Amsterdam, then I'd much prefer the police took that head on rather than just try and swerve the problem.
I was going to say, Andrew, just as a fellow Brummie, it's just sad though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, desperately sad. Like I said right at the top, I want to be talking about Morgan Rogers and seeing Villa smacking 6 goals against Maccabi.
Yeah, we're not going to do that, don't worry.
Andrew, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, mate. Be safe.
We do have questions for the West Midlands Police and the Safety Advisory Board. We'd love to speak to them. We want to know why it's deemed so high risk, why we can't police the operation. Is there intelligence to suggest that there will be serious protests from other communities? Do they have information that Maccabi fans are going to cause trouble or have trouble caused to them? If that's the case, in those circumstances, as divisive as this, it is your duty to communicate that properly and clearly so there's no room for interpretation and speculation. This is talkSPORT.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles built around your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at 11:04. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good morning. The West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner wants the decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from their Europa League game at Aston Villa to be reconsidered. Some supporters of the Israeli club were targets of anti-Semitic attacks away at Ajax last year. West Midlands Police say their decision to prevent them attending Villa Park is based on current intelligence and past events. Security specialist Will Geddes thinks we deserve more information.
There is no detriment to them or their operations by necessarily even giving a broad brush that perhaps there's even a terrorist risk that is potentially presented, or there is a plot that is in the potential making.
Ahead of Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea, live on talkSPORT tomorrow lunchtime. Bad news for the Blues. Cole Palmer's out for another 6 weeks with that groin injury. Meanwhile, Gravenberch and Canate are expected to be fit for Liverpool's game with Man United on Sunday. Now, Fulham's owner has told talkSPORT he is in favour of a salary cap. Shahid Khan, who also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars, says the salary cap keeps the NFL competitive and would do the same for the Premier League. You can hear the interview with Shahid Khan on the talkSPORT Daily podcast. And ahead of England's Ashes warm-up, the white ball captain Harry Brooks told us why he's disappointed with his form.
Because I'm hitting it in different areas, and obviously it all depends on the situation of the game and the surface, but when I'm at my best, I'm hitting straight, and then I'm adapting to the line and the length of the bowler's ball.
England's tour of New Zealand kicks off with tomorrow's T20 live on talkSPORT 2 and the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube channel.
talkSPORT News.
The NHS medical negligence bill has quadrupled to £60 billion, and Donald Trump's shown signs he may not sell a long-range missile system to Ukraine ahead of their meeting. More from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit, where we've got more premium tyres than the number of times you'll hear, "Ooh, it's a bit nippy this winter." Book today at quickfit.com.
Another cloudy day for most of us. Patchy drizzle in the far north and east. That drizzle moving south later. A grey and windy weekend ahead.
Hey, how you doing? It's talkSPORT. Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney and Alex Crook. We're here right the way through until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Rangers are getting closer to appointing their new manager, Kevin Muscat. Alex Crook's been leading the charge on this story ever since it broke a week or so ago. What's the latest?
Well, I think, as you say, it's getting closer. I think they're playing today, actually, maybe as we speak. Shanghai Port, the team that Kevin Muscat is currently in charge of, and that is holding up the appointment. Shanghai Port, a government owned over in China, so that makes negotiations a little bit more tricky. But I think also Muscat, with 4 games of the Chinese season remaining, they're in a great position to win the title. He wants to see that job through before taking over at Ibrox. Now, I know that's been a bit divisive, maybe, amongst Rangers fans. Should he jump ship and take the job straight away? I actually think it shows the character that Kevin Muscat is, and the fact that he values loyalty, that he wants to see this job through and not disrupt their title push.
7 minutes into the game, 0-0 between their opponents and Shanghai at the moment. So they're heading for, they've only just started. We are treating it with the urgency it deserves, was the words of the Rangers board amid their struggle to identify a replacement for Russell Martin. And what has it told us about the attractiveness of Rangers that it's taken so long to identify a target and then to snare him?
Oh, a couple of questions in it. I think it's still very attractive to most people. I think what it has shown is that people are looking at jobs now a bit more clearer. Like, what are they walking into? We saw Russell take the job, but probably didn't know what he was walking into. We understand the fan bases now, and I think for most coaches, you can look at not just Rangers, but you can look at the West Ham situation, you can look at the Forest situation and go, right, what am I walking into? And this new ownership hasn't covered themselves in glory just yet. What are you getting? And then I would probably ask, I don't know much about Muscat as a coach. Like, what's his style? Is it very similar to Russell Martin's? Is it completely different? I don't really know what type of profile they're looking for within a coach. So a lot of question marks around it, but it's still a massive, massive job.
Well, yeah, look, I spoke to a manager who was interested in taking the job earlier in the week. We've discussed that at length. And he's quite an experienced manager, someone who actually, I think, even held conversations with Rangers. So the idea that this has not been an exhaustive process, I think, is probably incorrect. But I don't think they've cast their net particularly wide here, have they? Bearing in mind that Muscat was interviewed for the job the last time it came about, the time before last when Philippe Clement was eventually given it. Is it because he has got a relationship with the club, or that he impressed the last time that he had the interview, that he has been honed in on? Because there have been other candidates.
I think both. There have been other candidates. It felt a little bit like rinse and repeat for the summer when it came to Steven Gerrard, because actually when Russell was appointed, I think Steven Gerrard was their dream candidate. Couldn't get him then. They're a bit closer, as I understand it, this time to reach an agreement before he pulled out of negotiations. Danny Roll did the same, although I think Kevin Muscat by that stage was probably the preferred candidate. But certainly Kevin Muscat's affiliation with the club has helped. I think it's been very positive, the reaction from fans on social media, and whether we like it or not, I think when boards recruit managers, they do take that into account now 100%. Probably more than ever. But he's someone who understands the fabric of the football club. He understands the weight of that jersey. Russell Martin obviously played there as well, but the accusation from Rangers fans was that he maybe didn't embrace just how big a job this was. I think Kevin Muscat is going in with his eyes wide open. He knows this is not a great Rangers team. They're basically writing off the season, aren't they, by allowing him to finish the season in China. They're saying, well, we're not going to achieve much this season. We can afford to bide our time.
Well, talk to me about that. If he really wanted to do the job that badly, would he not just up sticks and move straight away? Or is it more complicated than that in terms of getting out of China? And then is he prevented from just walking away before the end of the season?
Well, I mentioned that they need to negotiate with the government, but I think first and foremost, he is 4 games away from winning the title. And he feels he would be letting down
as well.
Yeah, but he also feels he'd be letting the club down if he was to up sticks now. So I value that. I think that is a good character trait, that he's not just jumping ship.
But also, it's better for Rangers, right? Having someone that's just won the league where they were. They've just won the league and he's coming in now, so he'll have a standard that he'll expect to be winning. Look, I think the problem we've got no matter what is Rangers fans will expect to be winning and competing. They're not doing that at this moment in time. So if it takes them an extra 2-3 weeks to get the right person in, Rangers fans will suffer it in the long term as long as they get the end result. But at the moment, again, my concern is with the fans. It's more with the ownership and what are you looking at? Because the names and the people that you're being banded with don't seem to be the same coaching profile. Danny Roll is completely different to Steven Gerrard. Yeah. Steven Gerrard is completely different to Muscat.
And that, I think, tells you more about the hierarchy, and there's a lot of spotlight on Kevin Felwell, the sporting director in particular. But what I can say, just coming back to Muscat, his CV is very similar to Postecoglou's when he went to Celtic. He's won the league in Australia. He's won it in Japan. He won it in China. No, but there are similarities. You can't get away from that. But I met Kev and his former teammate Craig Moore in Glasgow at the Euros a few years ago. And what I can tell you was, even then, he struck me as a very driven, very determined character. He wanted to be a success as a coach, and he wanted this job. He's always wanted this job.
I'm going to let you go. Kev. Can't call him Kev. What's happening here?
Kevin.
You've just undermined the entire reporting of this story over the last week, because we now know that he's one of your mates.
Add it to the list. So that's Gary O'Neill, that's Eddie...
Well, the good news is that apparently Kev has promised to come on the show as soon as he is appointed as the manager. We can also tell you that we think Neil McCann is going to go in as his assistant and may well end up taking interim charge. That hasn't happened yet. We did reach out to Neil to find out whether or not he would be involved this weekend, or Nilo.
No, but let me just say on that.
He is a top coach, and he has been involved very recently with Barry Ferguson, so he knows the club and the players very well.
Just on that, the under-19 manager is in charge against Dundee United this weekend.
Who's that?
Steve Smith?
Davo.
Steve.
But that's not...
Stevie.
On a serious note, that isn't a great look for a club the size and stature.
No, of course it's not. But again, you have to manage the expectation, the short term of getting what you want. And, all jokes aside, but I know you've obviously got the in. A lot of good things been said about Kev, as you like to call him. But I do think going in with a manager that just wins the league, he will have standards and a way, and he'll have that authority instantly in the room because you've just won something.
Will he also do what Ange Postecoglou did when he went into Celtic and actually open up new avenues of trade for Rangers?
Possibly, and I think it's an area that they need to look at as well. You know, the amount of money being spent in Scottish football is not, in comparison with everybody else. So, yeah, there's little avenues and things you're going to have to get sorted in the transfer market. But I do think for Rangers now, I keep going back to the ownership. Let's have an identity of who we are and what we are. I think for Rangers fans, they must be so frustrated because I'm not a Rangers fan. I'm just watching from the outside. I don't know what you're doing. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're trying to be anymore. And that all starts with ownership.
I still think there's a lot of pressure on Kevin Farewell moving forward.
Who is the director of football? He also hired his son, didn't he, to work in the department recently.
That went down well with the Rangers fans.
Well, they're in for a bit of a ride because just 6 minutes ago when we started this chat, it was 0-0 between Qingdu Hainyu and Shanghai Port. It's now 1-1, 15 minutes into Kev's game in
Can't
China.
keep clean sheets. He is like Ange.
96 goals they scored last season.
How many did they let in? 104? Listen, as soon as Kev is in situ, we will have him on the programme. This is talkSPORT.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals and taking you through what should be another busy day of football.
Chance to win it! Oh! Oh!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
you get to that conclusion? Are not good and the top of the league. That's a weak mentality. Oh, get out of it.
Whatever you're doing this morning, thank you very much for choosing Talk Sport with me, Sam Matterface, Kev's best mate, Alex Crook, and Troy Deeney, the former Watford captain. We're here right the way through until 1 o'clock today.
Can I just give a quick shout out while we're doing it, actually?
Oh, no, here we go, yeah.
My nephew's just become a dad for the first time. His little boy Grayson is listening to us, apparently, so he's only a couple of days old.
Crikey. Not necessarily sure they should be bringing the kids on our words of wisdom, but, you know, okay.
Big fan of Troy Deeney, apparently, already.
Is he?
Yeah. Cheers, Kev.
No.
Let's talk about dressing rooms and what it's like to be a captain in a dressing room when things are kicking off. Because, I don't know if you see this story across the week, Wilfried Zaha has hit back at former teammate Jean-Philippe Mateta after the Crystal Palace striker claimed that Zaha laughed at his international ambitions. Mateta told L'Equipe at Crystal Palace right at the start, when I wasn't even playing, I spoke about the France team in the dressing room and I had teammates like Wilfried Zaha who were laughing. They said that I was mad to think about France when I wasn't even playing at Crystal Palace, but I responded saying it was my objective and I simply had to play to show what I could do. This is what Zaha said in response.
It's disgusting when I see someone that I thought was a friend do that. Like, the conversation that was had was his chances of playing for France way back when he wasn't playing for Palace, and there was 10 players that he had this conversation with. And as friends, we laughed it off, but we were joking around that it's going to be difficult, especially with Benzema, all these different players playing in those positions. Wouldn't you be shocked that this person has made out like there's some sort of hate from me? Why would he say my name when there was 10 people? Or is it because with Zaha's the biggest name?
Look, I mean, he's the experienced character, Wilfried Zaha. He knows how things work. I mean, my question is this really blowing up, or is this just a little bit of exaggeration taken out of context? Because, look, I've been telling everybody all week that the only reason that I finished the half marathon was because he kept having a go at my hamstring, right? Now, you can make that sound more important than it was. I was fueled by Crook's vicious comments, could be the headline.
Which is true.
Which is true.
I'm always in your head.
But that would be overplaying it just slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what this is?
No, obviously the truth is what Mateta is saying, that he's had that conversation and the lads weren't having him because at probably the time of the conversation, as Wilf just alluded to there, he weren't playing, he wasn't in the team, wasn't doing that well, and Fred's had Mbappe, Benzema, you name it, he had all these people ahead of him. So yeah, they probably would have laughed it off. I think to say that publicly without any of that context around it and the timing and what there was 10 lads there, I think that's where Wilfs took a little bit of but got upset, got a bit angry, probably taking it the wrong way because he's like, hold on, there was 10 of us there. Why are you just mentioning my name? But again, it's a little bit of nothing. It's international break. There's not a great deal to talk about.
But I know what you do in that situation. You wouldn't go on social media and record a video. No, but you would pick up the phone. That's what you do.
No, of course you would. But it's a different time. But I'd have dealt with it before that anyway. So, yeah.
I understand the conversation.
It's a conversation,
right? It's a conversation. We all have those conversations. And by the way, two things can be true, right?
Of course it can.
Mateta could have perceived it and have said it in a very different way to the way that Wilfried Zaha has viewed it. You know, and it might well be that he used Wilfried Zaha as internal motivation that Zaha didn't quite realise at the time.
But also as well, like you can have that motivation. Again, it's nowhere to this extent. But I remember coming into Warsaw, fresh off a building site, never lifted a weight in my life, and the physio, the strength and conditioning guy was a great guy. But at the time, he asked me to lift weights, and I couldn't lift them. I couldn't lift like 5K. He was going all over the place. And he embarrassed me in front of every single person and was like, get on this, watch this. He thinks he's going to be a player. Obviously, it's a different time. I worked every single day to be in a position that by the end of that season, I was lifting right up there with the best and kind of going to him, get that, you don't even know how much you humiliated me there. That's kind of the same thing with Mateta. Mateta's telling teammates, here's my aspiration of where I'm going to get to. And the boys have laughed him off. It happened. But internally, he's going, I'll prove you wrong. And when I get to that point, I'm not going to forget what you did then. But that's what's happened.
The ultimate irony here is that obviously Wilf Zaha is not happy that these comments have been made public. He's made them more public. I didn't have a clue that Mateta had said that until he went on social media. I had to Google to find out what the video was all about.
Wolf's also in the States, isn't he? So he's
bored.
Not that he's bored, but it looks like he's travelling there or he's walking through a hotel or something. So maybe he's had those things sent to him as well. You know how social media works now. People would have been tagging him and trying to make out whether it's true or not. And then he's felt the need to respond. I just think people nowadays are more sensitive anyway. I would have just phoned him and gone, mate, what's all that about? And if he would have given it the big, I'd say, right, no problem, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
When things do cross the line in the dressing room, what does the captain do to try and police it?
Wades in.
Nah, normally you're trying to just diffuse every situation. Again, I think there's this preconceived conception that, like, in football, there's loads of fights. There's not. There's very rarely any. There's a load of, like, handbags and pushing and shouting. But really, football moves too quick that it's like the next day, who cares? We got to win the game or we got to win the training session. Normally, it's built out of, like, childish behaviour. But there is obviously issues that arise. But when that type of chat that they're talking about either happened in 3 places: in the gym, in the dressing room, or in the canteen. That's it. Where they're just having someone's chatting, and maybe, I don't know, Fred's maybe on the screen or the squad's just been announced, and he's gone, like me going to Crookie, I'm going to be there one day. He goes, oh, good one, mate. And then everyone piles in. That's all that's happened.
Have you ever got examples of thwarting a proper falling out by intervening yourself as a captain?
Yeah, there's been a few times. I won't say the guys' names because it's not fair on them, but there's a few times where, you know, it has got to fisticuffs, and, you know, people have, like, threatened to throw police. People have threatened to, like, go to HR and talk about contracts, and it's like, whoa, steady on. Like, what we're doing here? Why was that happened? Right, do me a favour, go home, think about it, come back in tomorrow. If you still want to do it, then, you know, I'll do it with you. I'll come with you and we'll sort it out. But I'll phone that person 2 or 3 times on the evening and have a chat, and, you know what I mean, try and be like, you know, how you feeling now? The first part is your pride's hurt, isn't it? And some people,
are all captains like that? Do all captains take responsibility like that? Was that just your way of doing it?
I don't know. I don't know every other captain, but my point was just, like, try and just keep again, we was at Watford, so there's a lot going on above. I was just trying to keep the things that I could control as steady as possible.
And did you learn that from somebody else? Take that on from somebody else, or did you do it off your own back?
Do you know what? Honestly, from my mum, growing up in Boozers, my mum used to work in pubs, so she used to be like, keep an eye on the fella over there, because once he's had a few beers, he starts getting a bit lively, and once that one over there, do you know what I mean? You just, you know, when Sam starts getting up on the tables, and you know he's getting a bit leery. But it's just I just know from it being, like, just from life. But I had great captains before me. You know, John Eustace was fantastic, obviously at Derby now, showed me the ropes, showed me how to be sympathetic, but also be nasty when you need to, and really cut in and get to the point. So you learn it over time. I think Mateta personally has got bigger things to worry about than
well, so should Zaha. I mean,
has he?
Is there a danger that Will's been a bit precious on this?
Well, also earlier on this year, he did get hammered, didn't he, for the interview after Charlotte? Remember when he sat
in the throne with a crown on?
No, when he said, like, he got frustrated because he thinks there's so much more, and they went on a run, didn't they?
They did go on a run,
but socially, he got a bit. That interview got clipped up and played everywhere. So maybe he's trying to do a bit of damage PR. I can't believe we filled 15 minutes with this nonsense, personally.
Well, yeah, the last question I wanted to ask you about this, and listen, this was my idea to do because I wanted to get more insights into you managing a dressing room, really, and I think we learned a little bit more about you there.
Thank you.
But have you ever poured fuel on the flames in a situation?
Oh, yeah.
Like that?
Oh, yeah, they're funny. They're the funny ones. When you know, especially, you got to do it with people when you know they're not that way inclined in terms of, like, they're not going to have tear-ups. Do you know what I mean? But they will start nibbling at each other, and then they'll have a few, like, they'll smash each other in trade. Yeah, we'll have a wind up there. And also, like, trying to think, I don't want to say names because it's not nice, but he won't mind. Hughesy, Will Hughes, was the easiest to wind up. The angriest little man you've ever met in your life. I love him to death, but he was so easy that if he'd, you know, he would argue that the ball's just got out of play, and he'd be like, you give Fozzie the eyes, like, get on him. And then everyone would start getting on him, and he'd just start snapping people. It was funny. Really, really good kid.
Like when our producer told Sam that the bosses weren't happy with the show, and he went into a rage.
That was a nibble, wasn't it?
Turned out to be a wind-up.
Excuse me. I wasn't the only one, was I, Troy?
No, I'll back up my teammates.
We sat in the pub after that show. No joke, right? The producer was on a wind-up. He sat in the pub after the show, and we said to him, were you like, on a wind-up? He went, it was just a joke. And Troy turned around to him and said to him, next time you tell a joke, any chance you could smile?
He takes his pleasure, sadly, as our referee.
This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface for Troy Deeney and Alex Crook. We're here till 1. Birmingham MP Sakib Bharti says banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park next month paints Birmingham in a terrible light. West Midlands police say their decision is based on current intelligence and past events. Well, the Prime Minister calls that a serious mistake, and journalist Dan Levine wants Sir Keir Starmer to do more.
It came on a day when the Prime Minister also in the morning said that he would do absolutely anything possible to protect Jewish people on the streets of the United Kingdom. So, as I say, the ball is very much in his court.
Well, we're now told senior government figures are meeting today to address what they call this completely and utterly unacceptable decision. Now, Fulham's owner has told talkSPORT he's in favour of a salary cap. Shahid Khan also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He says the salary cap keeps the NFL competitive and would do the same for the Premier League.
Why is it by far the most successful soccer or, English football league in the world? Competition. You have competitive balance. And I think those rules keep the competitive balance.
And Owen Farrell isn't expected to take part in England's autumn internationals, but according to The Telegraph, the door will remain open for a possible return to the team before the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. For more on these, head to talksport.com.
Good morning, this is Sam Matterface, and my two shipmates today are Alex Crook and Troy Deeney.
Go on, Skipper, you can do it.
He says I haven't got control of the ship today. I haven't had control of the ship since it left dock in August. Time now to catch up with the latest odds, thanks to BetMGM.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get ready for the golden era of sports betting. Visit betmgm.co.uk or download the app. 18+gambleaware.org.
Crook's going to introduce this segment, and our next guest, go for it. What did you just say? Do it exactly the way you just planned it.
Speaking of people out of control.
Here is
it Dan Taus? Has he turned up?
No, it's Matt Gibson from BetMGM. So he didn't even get it right. He didn't even get it right.
That was aimed at our learned friend, honestly.
Oh, dear.
Where is he today?
I don't know. Out the office, annual leave. Probably on a golf course, Crooked. You know him as well as I do.
I wouldn't work for BetMGM. You must get about 15 weeks holiday a year.
I mean, anybody else in any form of work could say that, except you. Except you. You never work.
His description of work is very loose, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
I'm working at a racecourse. I'm working by the pool. Yeah. I'm working in the studio with these two numpties. Right, okay. Let's discuss the top sporting events and the latest odds with the great Matt Gibson from BetMGM. That's a better intro for you. The Premier League is back tomorrow live on talkSPORT. It's Forest against Chelsea. It's 12:30. And what are the odds suggesting? Is there any prospect of Ange Postecoglou getting his first win as the Forest boss?
Well, we've got our eyes on a couple of games tomorrow, rightly so, Sam. Forest-Chelsea. Forest as big as 29-10, nearly 3-1 at home to beat Chelsea. Chelsea 10-11 favourites, 14-5 the draw. I don't think Ange has ever beaten Chelsea in his 4 games against them. Chelsea beat Forest home and away last year. I think the market's probably got it bang on based on form, but I think maybe one of the teams that the international break favoured could have been Forest. Stop the rock a little bit, let Ange have 2 weeks with his players, get his messages across. I don't know, boys. We're boosting both teams to score to even money. I think that's not a bad bet, but I do think Chelsea will be too strong in the end. And then 3 p.m. comes around, fellas. You know where this is going. All eyes on Turf Moor. Burnley versus Leeds. I don't know if you remember this game last year, lads. It was a shocking advert for Championship football. 0-0 with 1 shot on target between them, which I think came in about the 88th minute. Burnley are a big price actually, 49-20 to beat us, 23-10 the draw. Leeds 6-5 to go to Turf Moor and win. I think we're without Noah Okafor and Willie Gnonto, so the pressure is big time on Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's 1 goal so far this season. He is 4 in his last 6 against Burnley, but he's only one goal for Leeds so far this season. Troy, what do you make of DCL? A lot of people say he's great at pressing. He wins a lot in the air, but ultimately his goals are a wee bit low so far, aren't they?
Yeah, I think he's a great acquisition for you guys in terms of the knowledge and know-how. And when he's fit and available, obviously his talent is there for all to see. I just don't know whether he's got that desire anymore to push himself through the hurt locker in terms of like getting on the end of something now, because his body has betrayed him so many times. I just wondered though, can you be a little bit more like objective and not say us when you talk about Leeds, please?
Sorry, mate. I'll try to remain impartial.
Yeah, we've already got Kev next to us here. It's not working out right here. No, but I think it's going to be a better game than last year. I think Burnley have to come out and try and take the game to Leeds. They can't keep going for draws like they have been.
Both sides have got to win, haven't they? Surely.
No, for Leeds, you just want to be in a position where as long as you don't lose the game, it's happy days, because it's not at home. You'll fancy you'll beat them at home. So I just think all the pressure's on Burnley.
I'm not sure about that, lads.
That's why you're the bookmaker.
I want us to go there and win. I don't want to watch the same thing that I watched last year, which was both sides settling for a draw.
Let's see what else we can do in terms of raising a little bit of money for charity, because Fulham, Arsenal, Manchester City, Everton, Liverpool versus Manchester United all feature in Golden Goals. Who's got what?
Well, yeah, Golden Goals is our free to play. Customers coming up to 250 grand if they get 6 correct scores. Interesting, lads. We had 11 players that were 5 out of 6 last week, so doing plenty better than you boys with as far as predictions goes. But Sam, we'll kick off with you, mate. Fulham, Arsenal. What do you think?
Arsenal have only conceded 1 from open play this season so far, so I'm going to go for Arsenal to win 2-0. I'll go 2-0. 2-0 Arsenal away from home at Craven Cottage.
I think it's got a good chance. 11-2. This scoreline has never happened at Craven Cottage, Sam. So it's either never going.
Hold on. That scoreline's never happened at Craven Cottage ever, or just between Arsenal and Fulham?
Just between Arsenal.
I was going to say.
0-2's never happened between these two sides. I'm not, despite what history says, I'm not against it, mate. I think you're pretty close. Coming out at 11-2. Troy, we try not to give Crookie Man United all the time because we don't want to stick the knife in too much. So Troy will give you Liverpool Man United.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I can't remember what I said, but I think I said 3-1 Liverpool.
You did?
I did, yeah, thanks. Cheers. But I can make the argument, though, that it could be bigger for Liverpool. I really do. No, I really do. I just think that, we were talking about it earlier, when Man United get stretched and they have the three at the back, they could be 1v1. Let's just say against Gakpo, Salah, Isak, against your back three of Yoro, De Ligt, and Shaw. I know where
Martinez might be fit this weekend. Might be in
when was that time he played?
Probably Anfield last year.
Yeah, so I just think that there's I could just see a situation where if Liverpool score first and it gets stretched, then Liverpool can score a lot of goals in this game.
But as my kids would say, bro's getting a bit defensive today, isn't he? You know, every time we bring up something to do with Manchester United, he's just straight in there.
He is, yeah.
You've got to remain impartial, Crookie, when people are coming for your team, mate.
Absolutely. It's not that deep. We'll go on then. 3-1 Liverpool. What's the odds on that?
3-1 Liverpool is 9-1. United haven't gone back-to-back. The winless and away, 8
we
away.
know the stats. Move on.
We'll move on to you, Alex, and we'll give you again, just to kind of kick the boot in, we'll give you Man City Everton.
Yeah, Man City, they used to be very good. They're not quite so good now, but they'll win 3-1, I think, against Everton.
You think Everton score?
I do think Everton will score.
No, it's how we'd done quite a little bit of research to sort of back up our claims, and he just sat there and just went, well, whatever then.
It's not one of the games I've profiled in detail this weekend, but I do fancy City to win, so 3-1 for me.
But it's part of the job.
Why?
They gave you...
Why are they going to win 3-1?
Because they're at home, they've got a good record against Everton at home, but I do think they give you chances, hence the fact I think Everton will get on the score sheet.
Even without Grealish?
That's a big blow.
Did you know that?
Yes, of course I did, because he's in my fantasy team.
Pepper's actually beat Everton 3-1 on 5 different times, Crookie.
There you go.
Probably didn't know that one, mate. It was probably in the brain somewhere, which is why he landed on 3-1. 19-2 for that. And as always, fellas, the moonshot for 3 correct scores, 600-1.
Oh, that's what we're looking forward to. NFL at Wembley this weekend. LA Rams against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Is this going to be a good match? Because we've had a couple of stinkers.
Yeah, it's been poor so far over here in the UK. Jags should know what they're doing at Wembley. No one's played over here more times than them. 13 games, 7 wins, 6 losses. Despite them being familiar with their surroundings, I think the Rams will be a little bit too strong. Market suggests that as well. 3-5, the Rams win. 11-8, the Jags. Rams are without Puko Nacua, but I still think they'll be a little bit strong for the Jags. We are actually on Sunday, fellas. We are actually doubling odds on bet builders for BetMGM customers. So I know Troy's the expert on this one, so I'll run a little one by him to see if he's happy with it. I think Rams will win. I think they'll be over 44.5 match points.
Yeah.
I think Matt Stafford will throw over 200 yards.
Yeah.
And Kyron Williams will score a touchdown anytime. That's 7-2. If you place that bet on Sunday with us, that's 7-1.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 out of the 4 there. I don't think without Puka Nacua he throws that much. I think you're going to see more on the run game with Kyron Williams. But I would also throw one in there as well for people.
He's averaged 280 yards. Troy.
Yeah, he is, but that's with a full set of receivers. He ain't got that this week. But I would also put a little fiver on Jacksonville to win.
Interesting.
Matt, why are we doing American sport and we're not doing Champions Day at Ascot?
Because no one cares about horses like you. You've already been there 5 times.
Come on, Crookie. Give me some for Ascot. Personally, I think it might be a day for Godolphin. There's not much value in all their horses in singles, but the 3-timer, Trawlerman, Words of Truth, and Ombudsman, I think that at 6-1's not bad. My bet of the day, personally, mate, is a strange 225, 4-1. Kept her fresh out of the arc, likes a bit of softness in the ground. I think she might go well. What are you thinking, mate? Seeing as
that's what he wants to do. That's all he wanted to get to.
Very good.
Please ask me, Matt.
I'm thinking Calandagan might spoil your party in the big race.
How did he do with his tips the last time we were all together?
About as good as you did remembering my name.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. Appreciate that. That was a look at the latest odds. All thanks to BetMGM. Visit betmgm.co.uk and download the app. 18+, begambleaware.org.
It's showtime on talkSPORT with BetMGM. Get things golden with responsible play at betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org.
This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface, Troy Deeney and Alex Crook with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deal at selcobw.com.
welcome to talkSPORT Goals. We're taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it! Oh! Oh!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion? Are not good and the top of the league.
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
Oh dear, see, captain not in control of that shit. Honestly.
Would you like to win £100,000? Then listen up, because it's our biggest cash prize and we're going all out. A massive £100,000, completely tax-free. Could be yours. Listen up, because here's how to enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSPORT limited promotion run on TalkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
Oh, and he wants to spend the whole weekend with me as well.
Well, you've already stood me up for the train. We were supposed to be travelling back to Manchester together, and you're getting on the train an hour later.
Yeah, do you know? No, it was probably 2 hours later. But anyway, the reason
I bought you a beer. I drank it myself.
No, you didn't.
Did?
There's no way you bought me a beer, and there's no way that you won't be able to consume it yourself. You'll have about 7 before you've got off
four
the train.
cans there. Was it a 2.5 hour journey?
That wouldn't have satisfied your thirst for 2.5 hours.
To the trade.
That would have got you to Milton Keynes. Oh dear. Let's talk Sheffield Wednesday, I think. Sheffield Wednesday close to being hit with a winding up petition, which may end up forcing controversial owner Delphine Chancerai to put the club into administration. The BBC, the Mail, the Times, all understanding that a huge tax bill to HMRC remains unpaid, and the first steps towards winding up the club could be triggered as early as the coming days. I mean, I remember when he said that he would sell the club if the fans didn't want him to be the owner anymore. Well, they clearly don't want you to be the owner anymore, so why don't you just sell it? On Wednesday, there was an issue about so many different situations with the payment of wages as well. They've had their wages paid late 5 of the last 7 months, currently under 5 embargoes with the EFL. One of those relates to an unpaid bill, which is thought to relate to PAYE and BAT. And Henrik Pedersen, who is the manager at the moment, was speaking yesterday about the potential of the winding up order. This is what he had to say.
I've heard about it, and of course it's not good, but let's see what's happened before I'll say something about this.
Have you been able to have any conversations with the chairman this week?
Yeah, we have been in contact, but we have not spoken about this. I think I have not spoken with any players about this, and I have not heard it has been a theme in the dressing room. And I also think everyone is waiting what's happened. And into that, we have used all our energy to have a fantastic training today. But I cannot say we're used to it, but there has been a lot for a long time, and that's why we are really well trained in to have focus for where we can control. And again, I have nothing heard today about a negative thing in the dressing room. There has been a great atmosphere where the players have focused for a good training. They have seen the national team player who came back. There was a lot of happy players in this case, and yeah, so there has been a lot. There is a lot, but I think our boys, the staff, the coaches do it really, really well to put things away and just because in the end of the day we have no control at all on those things.
And that's Henrik Pedersen, who is the manager of Sheffield Wednesday. This is a huge club, massive, massive institution of English and British and European football. The idea that it could be wound up over the next couple of days seems absolutely startling. Fans have organised protests before and during games so far this season. They've boycotted the EFL Cup ties. I was there actually in the Leeds game where they fielded a really young team and they did very, very well in that game as well. Troy, how concerning is it that it seems that the coaching staff, the players, are seriously as much in the dark as everybody else is here?
Maybe. I actually want to talk about the positives of what a wonderful situation they've created for themselves. The manager has handled that excellently. He said that early on there in the interview. He has spoke with the chairman, but didn't give anything away. Just, you could see the frustration in his face for the people that are watching on YouTube. You could see that he's clearly not happy with it, but he's built a togetherness within that team. Every player there, I want to give Barry Bannon a massive shout out as well. Yeah. Held that ship together. Bit better than what you're doing at the moment today, but they're going in one direction, all working hard. And yes, and unfortunately, the sad part about it, Sam, is he said there, we've heard so much that they've become oblivious to it. It's water off a duck's back. They just keep going their way. And they've given a good account of themselves so far. I just feel sorry for everyone involved, except the ownership.
What is the football regulator doing about Sheffield Wednesday?
Not a lot, seemingly. Same as the EFL. I know the EFL have told us that they're powerless to intervene until it gets to this kind of situation where there is a winding up petition, and maybe then, like they did at Reading, they can force the owner to sell his shares. But I think the legislation needs to be...
The EFL can do that?
Well, they did it with Reading, didn't they?
Right. So if the EFL can do that, what's the point of the football regulator? Because David Cogan told this radio station the other day that forcing owners to sell clubs would be treated as a last result and the regulator would prepare to work with them. If they can't force them to sell now, when they're facing a winding up petition, what is the point? And also, if the EFL already had those powers, what is the point? If they don't get involved any earlier than the EFL?
Yeah, I agree. And obviously, Simon, who usually sits on this slot, is massively against the idea of a regulator. So are most of the clubs in the Premier League.
Well, it's all right if he can do anything. If he's not doing anything, it seems like just a quango that's earning a lot of money to do not very much. He can have a lot of time.
And I think it's a poor reflection on the FA themselves. They can't police their own game, but that's for a separate debate. I actually think this could be means to an end as far as Sheffield Wednesday are concerned. Yes, it's a scary prospect, a club being wound up. Not many football clubs do actually get wound up, thankfully. We were there when Portsmouth actually ended up in the High Court and were very close to being forced out of business before the fans managed to save them. Obviously, the Reading situation, they're in a much better place now. So I think this could be a blessing in disguise for Sheffield Wednesday, because this could finally force out the egotistical maniac who's in charge. Because I don't think it's that he hasn't got the money. It's that he doesn't want to put the money in because he's been criticised, because his pride has been dented. And his pride at the moment is in danger of taking down an institution, as you say, of English football.
We've had so many situations to false dawns of possible sales and interested parties, and it just hasn't worked out. I hope that they do get closure very soon. By the way, you keep having a pop about the ship and not being steered in the right direction. You'd all be on the same wavelength if you turned up to the production meeting earlier.
Is that what you call it?
What was it? Late train. Oh, my train's late. I'm going to be late.
No, I was actually doing a piece for our YouTube station as well, keeping that afloat.
You didn't moan about your train being late, no?
Well, it was late, but they're always late, aren't they?
Yeah. And then you didn't go up and get breakfast instead of coming to the meeting.
It's all about sustenance.
Yeah, right. Okay.
If we're going to keep producer Deck afloat on his stag do, we need to be well fed.
I tell you what, you question my professionalism. Unbelievable. This is talkSPORT. What are you laughing at?
You mainly.
I haven't got a clue what's coming up in the next hour of the programme, but I'm sure these two will come up with something interesting for you to listen to. This is talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's Real Deal at selcobw.com.
talkSPORT Sports Update, powered by the Nissan Van Range. Commercial vehicles that go the distance for your business. Search Nissan Vans or head to your local Nissan Van Centre.
With your headlines at just coming up to 1 minute past 12. I'm Nick Ellaby. Good afternoon. The West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner is calling for an immediate review of the decision to ban Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from their Europa League game at Aston Villa. Birmingham City Council's Safety Advisory Group said the game presented security concerns following advice from police. Security specialist Will Geddes has told talkSPORT we deserve a bit more information.
These are answers that people need to hear, and if they don't have them, again, a chasm of distrust can start building between supporters and groups like this that are preventing them from enjoying football.
Senior government figures are meeting today to discuss the next steps. Ahead of Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea live on talkSPORT tomorrow lunchtime, we're told Cole Palmer's out for another 6 weeks with that groin injury, but Enzo Maresca says Palmer does not need surgery.
We try just to protect Cole as much as we can. Unfortunately, the medical staff, they are no magician. You never know that. Probably you need 6 weeks. We hope that 6 weeks they are enough.
Caicedo, Enzo and Neto are all doubts as well for that one. Meanwhile, Gravenberch and Konate are expected to be fit for Liverpool's game with Man United on Sunday. Alisson is still injured though. York Knights and Toulouse Olympique will play in an expanded 14-team Rugby League Super League next season. The Super League's 12 clubs voted to expand the competition. And the funeral of Matt Beard is taking place at Liverpool's Metropolitan Cathedral. Ian Rush, Leanne Sanderson, Casey Stoney and Farah Williams are all there. Matt Beard's son Harry shared messages to say suicide is never the answer. Reach out.
talkSPORT News.
The NHS owes £60 billion in medical negligence claims, and it doesn't sound like Donald Trump will be handing Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles later. There's more from the news team at past.
talkSPORT weather with QuickFit. This winter, treat yourself to the Bridgestone Turanza All-Season 6 tyres with a 20,000 tyre mileage guarantee. Book today at quickfit.com. Conditions apply.
Another cloudy one for most of us. Patchy drizzle in the far north and east. That drizzle's moving south this afternoon. A grey and windy weekend ahead.
Were you? There might have been a blessing in disguise. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface with the Crookmeister and Troy Deeney. We're here through till 1 o'clock today. I don't know if you've noticed this, but there seems to be an odd situation developing up and down the land. The old adage, you should never go back, has it been long dispelled? That's because 11 of the 92 Premier League and Football League clubs have been or are managed by someone who is in their second or more spell at the helm. Struggling at the bottom end of the Premier League, Everton turned to David Moyes in January, almost 12 years after he left Goodison Park for Manchester United. Sheffield United have Chris Wilder. Watford also have a new old manager, don't they? Your old mate, Javi Gracia.
My manager, not mate.
Well,
it's not Kev.
It's not Kev.
I'm not calling him Yav.
You call him Gaffer, don't you?
Call him all Gaffer, yeah. It's called respect, mate. You'd learn it one day. He's gone back in now.
Get off your phone.
I was checking the Shanghai Port score. They're 3-2 up.
So I think a lot of teams are going back to it for the nostalgia, aren't they? For that feel-good factor with the fans. I think ownership now are more worried about PR optics of a lot of things. Again, Steven Gerrard, every time the Rangers job comes up now, is the first linked, because he takes you back to a time when it was better than what it is now. And I think with Watford and I think with Sheffield United, the Sheffield United one to me is amazing. Chris Wilder is the only man for that job. It's just set in stone, but that is the third time he's been back.
It's not gone brilliantly though since he went back, is it?
No, but again, it's a little.
It's gone
bit
better than it did before.
It's a little bit like the West Ham thing, where like you had something that was working, but you're desperate to change.
Yeah.
You change and then go, oh, that's not right, and we do go back to it. Again, you know, I'm not a big fan of Ruben Sellers. I'm not sure of why he keeps getting these jobs. Must have an unbelievable presentation, but when you see it play out, it's not right. And they've recruited for that. It's a bit like Nottingham Forest. You recruit for a certain style of manager, then change manager and go, don't know why it's not working.
Which is what I suppose is the worry going forward with them, because having changed again, what do you do next? If you go back to what you had before in terms of style, then are you in a situation where you haven't got necessarily the players to do it? Do fans and players alike like the return of a hero? Is there something comforting about seeing someone who you all know wearing the club suit again?
Yeah, and it comes back to the Kevin Muscat thing, doesn't it? The Rangers and Celtic, as we heard from our Scottish football expert last week, they seem to like the idea of ex-players managing the team. I'd like to see the stats of how often that actually works, to be honest. But this Javi Gracia fit for Watford feels right. You know, it was never really right under Pezzolano. I think they did their diligence on him. He's obviously got a good record of taking teams out the second tier. But he annoyed everybody. He fell out with everybody. And I think Javi Gracia, just because of his demeanour, is going to just lift the mood, not just of the fans, but the players as well.
The one thing I will say, because obviously I've done it at Watford, we had Kike Sanchez-Flores came back for a second time.
Yes.
It didn't work.
Why?
Because everyone, even the players that were there with him before. This will be a little bit different now. I don't think there's any players from Javi's original time there when we were there 2018, 19.
Because I was going to ask you about this, because there'll be players that sit in the dressing room when they hear about a new manager coming back in for a second spell, and I suppose this happened with Kike, that they rolled their eyes thinking, well, that's it for me then. A little bit like James Ward-Prowse.
I was just about to say that.
At West Ham, when Nuno Espirito Santo.
Yeah, I was just about to use that as a reference point. But you know, when we were there, obviously the second time he came back, the first time Kike was with us, we obviously stayed up in the Premier League. First year up, we were great. It worked well. We'd moved on in terms of players and different types of players, but he was trying to recreate what was once before. And I just think it just gets very difficult there. I wonder whether Chris Wilder's, he looks to me like he's changed more than the team has now, that he's trying to have a softer approach. And I hope it works out for these guys. But again, I would love to know what the process is from ownership. I really would.
Probably the best example I can think of a manager going back to a football club and it being just as good, if not better, second time around was Harry Redknapp back at Portsmouth. Obviously went to Southampton. Pompey fans hated him, got them relegated, came back, saved Pompey from a seemingly impossible situation, kept them in the Premier League and then won the FA Cup. And then left again. And they still don't like him, a lot of Pompey fans, because he left twice.
Jose Mourinho came back to Chelsea, didn't he? And won the title, which was particularly impressive. Took them to a Champions League semi-final as well the second time around. Before that then went south again. I wonder whether it works the other way as well. Does, because you know so much already as a manager, depending on your last visit and when it was.
Your expectation is different as well, right?
Because if you've got a situation like Chris Wilder, you know most of the players anyway. You can make quicker and sharper judgments on how you're going to do things, can't you?
Yeah, I suppose so. But I think you obviously, again, I think I would look at it and say they know what to expect. If we talk about Javi, right? I'm talking for him. I haven't asked him this question. But if you think about it, he's probably going back into Watford going, I'm probably going to get sacked. I'm probably going to get, so let me enjoy it.
He knows the landscape.
Yeah, so let me enjoy it. Whereas I think most coaches go into places going, I'm going to be the one that changes it. I'm going to need 3, 4, 5 years to get it to where I need to be. But he goes, you know what? Let me just enjoy it and take it for what it is. If I'm here for 1 year or 10 years, that's great. If he's here for 1 week or 10 weeks, it's great. Do you know what I mean?
Let's hear from Javi Gracia, because you have been speaking to him in the last week for Watford themselves, and the two boys were sitting down having a conversation about what to expect going forward.
What's the difference between the man we see there and the man we see now?
I don't know. I think I feel I'm the same, but with more years, with more experience, I don't know. I'm enjoying my job, and that's the reason why I am here. Try to help, to manage the different squads, to enjoy every day.
Yeah. For most people, why would you come back? Because life is good at home.
Yeah.
You have the kids, they can't be with you. That's part of the moment. So the big question is why? Why come back?
Yeah. Sometimes I make me that question for two reasons, I think. Because I love football. I love the play football, and the other one is, in this case, to come to Watford is like come home. It's something I know. It's easier for me, and then these two reasons are for me the key to take that decision. Maybe I didn't take in other moment when I had different offers to go to other countries, to other teams, but in this moment, for these two reasons, I took that decision.
Definitely more pally than Kevin Crook, I think.
Did he offer you a contract? They're trying to get the band back together, aren't they? Emmanuel Dennis was there on trial.
I'm not part of the band now, am I, mate? So I'm the lead singer. No, mate, no, all good. It was nice, though. It was nice to be back.
Nice to go in there and sort of be around the place again?
Yeah, I literally went in, interviewed the boss and left. It wasn't a case of catching up with everyone. They're in work mode, aren't they? It just feels a bit weird, like going back in there, trying to remember a time that once was.
Yeah,
we're history. Let them have fun.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah, generally, we had fun. We had a good time. Now it's on for somebody else to take the reins and go forward with it. That's a
bit like when we invite Martin Keown back on a Friday every now and again.
No, he's
back on his show.
This is his show.
It must be strange being a Watford fan. Actually, I was sat next to Watford fans down at Fratton Park the other week. 2-2 draw. They were chanting you're getting sacked in the morning at their own manager. But you can't really fall in love with a manager, can you? Because you know that they're only ever just passing through. And that also means there's a high turnover of players. So it makes it difficult to fall in love with individual players now as well.
That was a situation at Chelsea for a long time. It was hard to sort of really get into to feel for a manager. You had, obviously, Jose's completely different. And it's a different level of sort of, I think, feeling towards him. But everybody else, it's almost like that this is only going to be very short-lived.
Yeah, I get that. But I think, again, I just think from a player's point of view, it's on you to make the fans love you and like you and respect you. It's on you, isn't it? I think.
But it was the last hero they really had.
Watford. You sat next to him, mate.
That's what I'm saying.
Anyway.
Genuinely.
No, I'm joking. No, it did.
Not me.
I don't know. Mapsy, Doyley, Tommy Mooney. You got loads of lads before. But I always do believe that should be for the current squad, that should be like the challenge. I want to be that. I always think you have to know your history. Anyone who goes into Chelsea or Man United, for example, should look back and go, wow, look at all these wonderful times they're spoken about. I want to create my future. That's how I think they should look at it. But I think now, just specifically about Watford, it's on the players now. You've had different manager again. It's on you now.
But that's the other point I wanted to make. How does a manager, even one who knows the football club, get authority in the dressing room when the players will be saying, well, mate, you're going to be gone in 6 months?
And that's the task. That's the task for Javi, isn't it? To get hold of it, find a leadership group, put some principles in place. But the biggest thing that gets everyone on side, win some games.
Yeah, I mean, is it that simple? Get people on side in the dressing room and create a leadership group that makes the dressing room police itself.
Yeah, you have to get buy-in as quickly as possible. You have to get people to believe in what you're doing. Again, he's gone in with the same staff as well, and the staff are really good guys as well, very knowledgeable at what they do. So, they'll drive it, but it's a tough game. Sheffield United away, first game is not an easy game, but he hasn't got an easy start as well, if memory serves me right.
Tomorrow we also have the in-demand manager derby. Glasner takes on Iraola. When we said we were going to talk about this, Crook's first reaction was up the cherries.
Yeah,
which
I don't know who he supports.
Was a weird situation outside.
Who do you support?
I like all the teams that I cover on the South Coast. Well, most of them.
So is it all of them or most?
Most.
Which ones don't you like?
We'll leave it there.
They take on Crystal Palace tomorrow. He won the Manager of the Month for September, Oliver Glasner. He's become the first Crystal Palace gaffer to win the award since...
I want to say... not our own Alan Pardew.
Tony Pulis in 2014.
I could have been here all day.
There you go. The Cherries have... against the Cherries this Saturday, but they face a team that have failed to score in any of their last 4 games. They have a bit of a tough time against Bournemouth for some reason. Iraola, fantastic. I mean, he's got a great opportunity to take this team into Europe if he plays his cards right this season. They almost had that opportunity last season, didn't they? But it died off towards the end. Is his problem going to be the lack of depth in the squad?
I was going to say, you took the words out of my mouth. I think squad depth, when we get deep into the season is going to be an issue for Bournemouth. And also, can Semenyo maintain this level?
It would be really difficult. It would be.
Talking of Semenyo, he has been talking about him this morning because there are reports about a release clause in his contract.
No, I don't know anything about the contracts of the players. I don't know how much they earn. I don't know. I don't want to know also. No, for me the only thing is he continues like he is. If he is playing well, there will be more noise, but it's something that we take. If he's playing very well, he's making the numbers, he's scoring, we are especially getting the points. But my concern is to keep him in this spot, where he's playing so well.
That was Andoni Iraola responding to an exclusive story that was in Tuesday's talkSPORT transfer notebook, courtesy of transfer guru Alex Crook, also chief football correspondent of talkSPORT, which he has made me say.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it was fairly obvious there'd be a release clause because he spoke...
Well, Andoni Iraola doesn't know anything about it.
Well, he should do, because he spoke to Tottenham and Manchester United in the summer, obviously signed a new contract. I think they knew Bournemouth, the only way to get him to commit was by including a release clause. And I think they're astute enough to know as well, if he does maintain these numbers, and only Erling Haaland has scored more Premier League goals this season than Semenyo, somebody will come calling. Probably not in January, but certainly next summer.
It's impossible to maintain this sort of level of form that he's at the moment. We understand that. But why is he having such a good period? What is it that has helped him be able to elevate himself to this level? Because I don't think any of us thought when he transferred from Bristol City that this was going to be his level.
No, I certainly didn't, and I'm happy to be proven wrong. Obviously played against him at Bristol City, thought he was big, thought he was powerful, thought he had a lot of tools, but just didn't really put it all together. It again, quite streaky, wasn't he, in his games? I think now, signing that, it would be a big contract. It'll be the one that's got him secure. It'll be the one that makes him the main man of the team officially. And I think signing early, I think he's gone into this pre-season knowing I'm staying, I'm sorted, I'm the man. Right, let me go and prove this. And also, if what we're being led to believe is true, that he's got this release clause.
There's an incentive.
There's a massive incentive on the end of it. Go on then, go and prove your worth. And he's having one of those moments when you start the season, like, he was pretty poor against Fulham.
He scored a ridiculous goal, didn't he?
No, that's but he was poor in the game, wasn't he? And then he's like, bang, bang. And he's like, oh, wow. When you're in that vein of form as a goal scorer, you're like, just only need one chance. And when you start thinking like that, he's gonna have an unbelievable year.
We've got to go, but where does he fit? Who does he fit in? Which team should be looking at him?
I like him at Chelsea.
Interesting. Why Spurs?
Because I think he'll get game time there. I mean, I mentioned he spoke to Manchester United. They've almost got too many of that type of player now to see where he would fit in. Whereas I think Spurs are lacking that kind of dynamism.
I mean, Chelsea collect wingers like they do Stamp, so...
Well, I'd play him off the right and put Estevan on the left, because that's an area you're not really sure about. I think at 18 years old, he's going to be a wonder kid. You could just let him go do what he needs to do on that left-hand side.
Interesting. Kev's team, do you know what the score is now? And you just picked up your phone straight away to find out. So what is it? Come on,
it was 3-2 when I last checked.
It is still 3-2, 56 minutes into...
Is this the first time we've ever spoke about a Chinese match ever?
I think it is. But it might be the last time.
I hope so.
As well. This is talkSPORT. It's Sam Matterface with Troy Deeney and Alex Crook, Kev's mate. We're here through till 1 o'clock this afternoon with Selco Builders Warehouse. It's where the trade go.
welcome to talkSPORT Goals. Been taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it! Oh! Oh!
Yeah! We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How did you get to that conclusion? Because they are not good and the top of the league.
That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
talkSPORT 2, by the way, tomorrow, Big London Derby, QPR versus Millwall, 12:30 tomorrow. Big game, that's live on talkSPORT 2. If you want to download our app, you can flick between the two stations. 2 games for you at 12:30 tomorrow. We've got Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. Brighton and Hove Albion in action tomorrow. Lots of people talking about Nick Voltemada. Is in your team?
No, trying to think of a way to get him in, but he's flying, isn't he?
You want him in your team? I've read a lot of articles about him over the international break, because he scored his first goal for Germany in the international break.
There was a lot of negativity about him either being called up. He does remind me of Crouchy, though. You know when Peter Crouch used to keep getting called up for England, and everyone used to kind of go, "Why is he being?"
But he always got goals.
Exactly that. Yeah, I think he's a very, very good player.
They're not great, Germany, are they? I watched that Northern Ireland game. They were a bit fortunate to win in the second half.
Well, he has got his first international goal. Tomorrow he takes on Brighton and Hove Albion, and he comes up against another German in Fabian Hürzeler, who has been speaking about Voltemada today.
I knew him since a long time. And my assistant, Coach Daniel, worked with him. So I was already interested in his development, because I think he is something special, like how he plays for his height. So of course he's very, very tall, but he still has an unbelievable good technical execution in tight spaces. And how he uses his body in very effective ways is just impressive. And these are all things you need to have to survive in the Premier League, and how fast he adapted to the intensity, to the demands of the Premier League. And I can speak from my own experience. It's really tough also for our young players, for our new players coming from a different league, and how fast he did it. It's just impressive, and it shows his quality. So yeah, it will be a big challenge to face him tomorrow. And for sure, as a German, I'm very pleased for him. And tomorrow he can stop scoring, and then afterwards I wish him again all the best.
Well, Newcastle haven't scored an away goal yet, so it would be a turn up for the books if he did. But he has managed 4 goals in his first 5 starts for the Tyneside club. It was only last month that Bayern Munich supervisory board member Karl-Heinz Rummenigge claimed that Newcastle were idiots for paying 69 million quid to sign him from Stuttgart. Let's caveat that. Bayern Munich tried to sign him. They couldn't get the deal done. Stuttgart didn't want to sell to them.
How much did they pay for Nicholas Jackson?
40. Well, they haven't. It's on loan.
Yeah. But
obligation,
only if he plays a certain amount of games, and they say that they won't necessarily get to that level. But yeah, around about 60, 70 million quid.
I know which one I'd have.
Well, absolutely. I actually said it, I think, on our podcast, the bitter Bayern old boys having a go at someone who's actually taken a step in a different direction, because a lot of the Bundesliga big talents, especially the German talents, always gravitate towards Bayern Munich, and they just didn't get their own way on this one. He's gone to Newcastle and he started like a train.
He probably looked at Harry being there as well and thought, where do I fit in? I want to be the main man. He's earned the right. I think he's suited perfectly for the English game. I think the way that Newcastle play, especially with Eddie and the team, the way they coach, I think he's going to score a lot of goals. I really do. I think Newcastle, I said it just before the international break, they're set up now for me to really kick on between now and the next international break. Ramsey's back. Visser's going to be back in a couple of weeks. You started to see players on the pitch. I just feel that they've kind of got over the Isak stuff and then now we're ready to kick on.
This is a tough game, though. You look at Brighton, they tend to produce their best results and performances against the better teams. They won at Chelsea, they beat Manchester City at home, they dropped points against Wolves last time out. So I think this would be a good result for Newcastle if they can come away with something positive.
Brighton have never lost in 8 Premier League home games against Newcastle United. Indeed, actually, Newcastle, the only side to visit Brighton 5 or more times in the competition without ever winning. That's a 3 o'clock kickoff. Tomorrow, Monday Night Football this week comes from the London Stadium. We'll be there. Danny Murphy will be co-commentating. Adrian Durham will be presenting. But how many West Ham fans will be there? We'll discuss that next.
Birmingham MP Sakib Bharti says banning Maccabi Tel Aviv fans from Villa Park next month paints Birmingham in a terrible light. West Midlands police say their decision is based on current intelligence and past events. Well, the Prime Minister calls that a serious mistake, and journalist Dan Levine wants Sir Keir Starmer to do more.
It came on a day when the Prime Minister also in the morning said that he would do absolutely anything possible to protect Jewish people on the streets of the United Kingdom. So, as I say, the ball is very much in his court.
Well, we're now told senior government figures are meeting today to address what they call this completely and utterly unacceptable decision. Now, Fulham's owner has told talkSPORT he's in favour of a salary cap. Shahid Khan also owns the Jacksonville Jaguars. He says the salary cap keeps the NFL competitive and would do the same for the Premier League.
Why is it
by far the most successful soccer or, English football league in the world, competition. You have competitive balance. And I think those rules keep the competitive balance.
And Owen Farrell isn't expected to take part in England's autumn internationals, but according to The Telegraph, the door will remain open for a possible return to the team before the 2027 Rugby World Cup in Australia. For more on these, head to talksport.com.
Okay, do you want a chance to win up to £100,000? Then, if you do, listen up, because we are giving away our biggest cash prize yet, and we're going all out to do it. A massive £100,000, completely tax-free. It could be yours. Listen up. This is how to enter.
18 plus UK excluding Northern Ireland. For a chance to win, text the word cash to 83338 and you're in the draw. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission, or you can enter for free by calling 0330 880 3338. All entries must be received by the 6th of November at 4 p.m. This is a TalkSport limited promotion run on TalkSport, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full terms and conditions at talksport.com.
This is TalkSport. It's Sam Matterface, Alex Crook and Troy Deeney.
If we did the outtake, by the way, they would go down a storm on YouTube.
They might do, but I think we'd probably
never work again.
Be out of a job. You definitely would be. West Ham United take on Brentford on Monday night, live on TalkSport. We're really looking forward to doing the game, but the West Ham fans might not be there in usual numbers. Dan Lawless, the host of West Ham Fan TV, expects there to be a noticeable lack of supporters at the Brentford game this Monday night.
You'll still see some fans there. There are some fans that, just I need to go to the game. I go with my family, or this is the one chance I get. I haven't been to a game all season. Or some people will go there and say, well, I need to support the team. So some people will go. We will truly say, I believe it's going to be noticeable how empty it is. And the fact that I'm on here now talking about it, the boycott's already been successful, no matter how many people go, because it's getting the media attention.
That was Dan Lawless giving us an example of what to expect on Monday night. Do you think there'll be a noticeable lack of fans at the Brentford game?
Maybe, but it won't make any difference to the atmosphere because it's pretty soulless at that stadium anyway. That was the same West Ham fan that Simon Jordan chewed off the other day, and I sort of see where Simon's coming from. Listen, fans are within their rights to protest. They know more about the day-to-day running of the football club than we do. But I don't really know what the end game is, because I don't see that a boycott is going to force Brady and Sullivan out of the football club. They're not showing any interest in selling their shares. So, as Simon put it, unless the West Ham fans are going to actually club together and put an offer on the table, all this is doing is harming their team, because you've got a new manager in situ. It's his first game at the helm. He's a manager they were all quite positive about when he was appointed. I think the team need the fans behind them, not outside protesting against the owners.
I was there against Palace, and it weren't rammed in. It wasn't full. And that, that was very early on. I understand people weren't happy with Graham Potter, but it was very early in the season. It was still an opportunity. If you win that game, does that turn your season? noticeable the amount of empty seats anyway. So
Can you not understand why they're protesting? Bearing in mind that this is a club that at the end of last season spent 6 months doing nothing, literally nothing, because their season was over in January. They'd appointed a new manager. The expectation was that new manager was going to come in, get his feet under the table, and get them set up for the new season. They did not do that.
Yeah, but where does the blame lie in that situation? Because, again, we've had numerous arguments earlier on in the season. But Graham Potter brought his guru in who was going to change it. He came in January. I haven't seen any successful signings in that one that you go, okay, there's the one that you're going to tip your hat on. I think when you look at it from a fan base, again, fan bases are allowed to change because they're emotionally attached. We're not. These were still a large majority of fan bases that were screaming David Moyes out when they were being successful. So you can't have it both ways. You can't go, well, I don't like that one, I want the next one. It's not how it works. I totally see their frustrations with the board because false promises were made when they left Upton Park.
That's what the root of this issue is.
Of course it is. And
what did they promise? I mean, they promised Champions League football, didn't they? Which was fanciful, but they have delivered a European trophy since moving to London Stadium.
But again,
they didn't kick on from there, did they?
But that's because
within 24 hours of doing that, David Sullivan was on this show basically hawking Declan Rice around.
Yeah, but Declan Rice to Arsenal, you can't stop that. Declan didn't sign a new contract.
Understand
you
that.
had to sell
but
him.
the look behind it wasn't particularly
No,
great.
I agree. Again, optics, but then David Sullivan doesn't particularly care about optics. He's his own
The West
man.
Ham fans do.
Yeah, but they've made bad decisions. Lopetegui was a terrible appointment. I think we called that out at the time. We called him the Spanish.
I remember I called it first time we did it and had people phoning up saying I was wrong. Remember, there was phone up and saying we're wrong, got to give him a chance. And I told you, the same man who walked away from Wolves, that's a character trait when you walk away from something.
Agreed.
I just think, mate, he's done it with a lot of teams, but I was just going very specific to Wolves. I just think when you look at West Ham is a wonderful football institute. I love their fan base, I really do. But this notion around what West Ham has been for the last, I'm going to say 40 years, it's like the West Ham way. Every time I meet someone, they can't tell me what that is. Because I want to know. I'm a historian. I want to know what is the West Ham way? What is the expectation? Where do they think
it all comes back from many, many years ago. West Ham played a certain brand of football. They had players that came through the academy that were groomed and went on to represent England, did a brilliant job for England, winning the World Cup in '66.
I was about to say, it was a little while ago, was it?
It was a long, long time ago. Now, if you go back over 50 years, the amount of time that West Ham has spent in the Premier League has not been exactly consistent. They've been up and down throughout the course of that period, and when they have been in the Premier League, largely many of their seasons have not been challenging the upper echelons of the league. It's been scrapping to stay into it rather than sort of competing at the top end. But the idea of moving out of Upton Park came with the promise of changing that.
Yeah.
And that hasn't happened.
It has to a certain point.
David Moyes did change it by achieving some high finishes, actually.
And a European semi-final, and obviously winning the conference.
And how many times did we have shows over the last couple of years where it was like, we need to move on from David Moyes now. He's taken us to a point, we need to kick on.
But one of the issues
they haven't.
You speak to the fans will be, look at the way the club recruit players.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it. Genuinely, to me, it's like a lottery ball.
But they have spent money. They've just spent it badly. I mean, but again, if we go back to the start of last season, I said it, I think you said it as well. We thought West Ham had a very good transfer window. Unfortunately, too many of those signings haven't worked out.
Well, Paul Krug was the main one. He's had an issue with his injury.
But he's always injured. He's always injured. Not like this season, but
they should have known that.
You should know his history. He was 32 when he signed, 31. 31. So, again, I just want to look at it like, just overview it, the transfers. What's the consistency? Like, what's the player profile that they're looking at? Because they've got Callum Wilson in, and I love Callum, but he's coming to the end of it. It's actually sad watching him play at times now. His body's betrayed him. Full Crook. Then you go and get the goalkeeper who just got relegated with Leicester. You go and get the midfielder who just got relegated with Southampton.
Yeah. Like,
the more you look around, like, what are you actually building?
Well, we've talked about this before. When you recruit players from teams that have already been relegated, the idea of the fear of relegation is not there for them. It becomes almost like
you can have one or two,
but not four,
not 4 or 5s. And when I look through that team, I just look around and I go, well, where's the kick on? Where's the kick on? You go back a few years, got rid of Craig Dawson, who did well for them, and bought in Max Kilman
for a lot of money for Max Kilman as well.
Is that a massive improvement?
No.
Does he take you over the line?
This is a big game for West Ham, and you've mentioned it. There's a lot of sort of relegation six-pointers, if you can call them that, this early in the season coming up in the next few weeks. But Nuno's got in there. There were improvements against Everton, but they still gave away a lot of chances in the first half in particular.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't win this game, then he's right up against it right from the off, Nuno, isn't he? I just don't think these protests are well timed. If you've got a new manager in situ, I think maybe delay the protests and get behind the team.
John Webster says, in recent years, West Ham have re-established themselves as a Premier League club. They've won a European trophy. The fans then wanted Moyes out. I honestly don't know what West Ham fans think they should be. They are not a top 6 team. Questionable if they are top 10. Can't keep claiming the ball. The fans put pressure on Moyes, and now look, be careful what you wish for. Mick in Rochester says, I'm on the disabled supporters board at West Ham. I won't be there Monday night. I've had to drag myself away and go to Turkey for a week. Nightmare. Phil Roberts says, Crookie, Kev comment killed me. Does he call Arteta art? Nuno, new. Absolutely love the show, Phil. Or was it actually because Crookie walked past me once in a bar in London and he called me P?
Very good. By the way, Dan Taus is actually recuperating from an operation, so you two should feel bad now for giving him stick about not turning up.
You know, people listen.
I think get well soon, Dan.
There is probably a clip doing the rounds.
That's because you feel terrible.
Yeah, you feel terrible. So you're trying to. Is that distraction technique? I think that's what it's called, isn't it?
That's what that's called.
Yeah. Just a bit of breaking news for you in the last few moments. talkSPORT understands that Keir Starmer is now actively working on reversing the ban of Israeli fans at a villa. Lisa Nandy is leading the police talks following a PM intervention. A PM spokesman has said in the last few minutes. The Culture Secretary, Lisa Nandy, is meeting officials to discuss what more can be done to try and find a way through to resolve this and what more can be done to allow fans to attend the game safely. The Secretary of State for Housing, Communities and Local Government, Steve Reed, spoke to the local council this morning, and the Home Office is urgently working to support police to try and find a way through this. We'll keep you updated here on talkSPORT. By the way, that game between West Ham and Brentford is live. If you're a West Ham fan and you are not going to attend, you can listen to it on the talkSPORT app.
Hello and welcome to talkSPORT Goals and taking you through what should be another busy day of football. Chance to win it!
We don't need to do that, guys.
I'm going to owe you an apology.
How would you get to that conclusion?
Are not good and the top of the league. That's a weak mentality.
Oh, get out of it.
It's talkSPORT with Selco Builders Warehouse. Check out this month's real deals at selcobw.com. I'm so pleased that you're so excited about this stag do you're going on this weekend.
I don't get out much, do I?
He sounded like a kid in a sweet shop then, didn't he?
Out a lot.
We just said we're going into the last section, and he was a bit excited, and he went, "Oh, are we? Oh, that means stag do's coming out," and he did it in that voice.
Yes, exactly in that voice.
Which was a bit strange, really.
Really disrespectful to the rest of us who were working.
Yeah.
It was really disrespectful.
I'm working Sunday. I'll be back Sunday.
Will you say working?
I'll be there in spirit.
Yeah. talkSPORT spoken exclusively with the Fulham owner, Shad Khan, ahead of the week in which he revealed that a salary cap style system could be introduced for Premier League clubs in the future. Khan spoke strongly in favour of financial restrictions to help maintain competition in England's top tier.
For the sport to be sustainable, you have to have some of those. You have to have some of those guidelines that have to be enforced. So there is competitive balance and there is sustainability. So all of that really is necessary, really, for the sport. But I think when you look at a holistic picture, why is NFL so successful? Okay, salary cap. And it took a while, for it to make sense. And the sport is highly competitive. And frankly, when you look at Premier League, why is it by far the most successful soccer or, English football league in the world? Competition. You have competitive balance. And I think those rules keep the competitive balance. And with that competitive balance, the media rights go up and the money. So that's the other way of really transferring the revenue. And you look at the other leagues, in the world, I'm talking about soccer leagues, they don't have the competitive balance and they don't have the media rights. So it's basically unsustainable.
That was Shad Khan speaking about the possibility of a salary cap. We're a bit sceptical about this for one big reason. Unlike the NFL, there are other leagues apart from the Premier League. So if the Premier League was to put in a salary cap and the Bundesliga and the Liga didn't do it, what do you think would happen to all the best talent?
Yeah, and that's why a lot of the big clubs are against it. Erling Haaland's not going to take a pay cut, is he, to fall within a salary cap? And actually, I've spoken to one or two of the so-called smaller clubs in the Premier League, and they say it's a complete non-starter as well, not least because the PFA, I think, would have something to say about it if their members suddenly got their wages chopped or they got a ceiling in terms of what they can earn. I think there will be a change to the PSR rules. I think it will go to a more UEFA-type system.
Would that include some sort of salary restriction, i.e., you can only spend a certain amount of your turnover on wages?
But that's different to
absolutely
across the board, a blanket salary cap, which I think is a complete non-starter.
Yeah, I agree. I think as well, like, sometimes things aren't broke. Don't mess with it. Leave it alone. Do you know what I mean? We're not trying to say how the NFL should be run and what should be done. Just leave it alone.
Also,
about your club.
It would be, as you said, disadvantaging yourself against the rest of the league because suddenly players like Erling Haaland are going to fancy a move to Barcelona and Real Madrid, maybe a lot more than he does at this moment in time.
Also, I think as well, like, it's worrying about sustainability. Look, like, he's a very wealthy individual. He's not exactly splashing the books, is he, at Fulham?
No.
He was keen to point out, though, during that interview about the importance of Marco Silva, the Fulham head coach, despite the Portuguese being in the last year of his deal.
What's your feeling towards Marco right now? I know he's in the last year of his contract, and do we see him as the long-term option? Do we think he's going to be something more there for him? I know there's other teams sniffing around at the moment. So is he someone that you see as the long-term option for Fulham?
He's been great. I mean, I really like him not only as a person, as a football manager, head coach. I think he's in our long-term plans.
Shad Khan saying that he's in the long-term plans of Fulham Football Club. Is Fulham Football Club in his long-term plans? I suppose that's more of a pertinent question, isn't it, your old mate?
Yeah, Mark, I call him. Yeah, Marky.
Gaffer.
No, but I think for the Gaffer, it would be a situation of him. I think he was frustrated last year with the lack of money spent. I think he's already said this year as well, hasn't he? In the window just gone. They're not a team that is flourishing with loads of big signings, and I just wonder whether this is an opportunity for Marco now to start saying to ownership, I need some real money if you want us to kick on, because at the moment they're just going to be a team that's just anything from 8th to 13th every year, and they're going to be solid, they're going to be sound, nothing really to get up for, nothing really to worry about.
The Fulham owner, Shad Khan, was talking to talkSPORT exclusively. You can see the full interview now on the talkSPORT USA YouTube channel. His Jacksonville Jaguars take on the LA Rams Sunday at Wembley, live and exclusive talkSPORT 2 o'clock. Or you can watch along also on the talkSPORT USA YouTube page. A couple of fixtures that we haven't mentioned yet that we should do. Sunderland against Wolves. Easy to say with hindsight that the fixtures have been favourable for Sunderland. But if they get a win, it'll be their best top-flight start since 1968.
Wow. Which is incredible, really, when you look at the season when Kevin Phillips, I think, won the Golden Boot, and they were right up at the top of the table under Peter Reid. This is a big game for Wolves, I think, because the common consensus, and Scott Minto mentioned it on the Premier League All Access podcast, is that Wolves are performing better than their points tally. If they lose to Sunderland, I don't think you can really make that argument anymore, and you have to say they've got a real job on their hands to stay up.
I think we've said it a couple of times. I could see them scoring goals, but they don't. And maybe some of that is down to the fact they don't have enough shots. 66 shots in 7 Premier League games so far this season, an average of 9.4, which is the lowest that they've ever had in a Premier League season.
Also, they're not very good. They're not very good. They keep sallying. I feel sorry for the manager. Again, this is a team that, if from a fan base point of view, I could really see why they would do protests. Year on year now, for the last 3-4 years, they just sell their best players consistently and replace them with less than. And it must be really frustrated with them. I think Wolves have, the manager did well last year, but I just think if we're Sunderland now, we've had a good start. I think they had their welcome to the Premier League moment at Old Trafford. I think it was for a lot of their younger players looking around going, wow, we're here. That nostalgia moment, because they were a deer in headlights. They were really poor. For the international break's come at a good time. They've still got Granit Xhaka there, who in my opinion is their best player by a country mile. He'll steady the ship now, and I can see them beating Wolves at Stadium of Light, being loud, being bouncy. But I can see them beating Wolves, and unfortunately, Wolves just haven't recruited well, and they're just not that good.
Burnley against Leeds tomorrow. Top 2 Centurions from the Championship last season clash. Troy's going to be there for that one. What game are you going to tomorrow? Oh, no, you're not. Are you going to Stag do?
Stag do. Must be nice.
Okay. I'll be at Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. 12:30 kickoff. And then Liverpool against Manchester United on Sunday afternoon.
FA Cup game, is that?
No. Biggest game of English football.
Oh, used to be. Now it's FA Cup third round.
Don't you worry about that.
Right, okay, so just want to give us an itinerary of what you're up to for the next few hours, just so that we can know. So we just warn off the people of Manchester, because you are going to Manchester. You're not dressing up, are you, anyway?
No, I have got a little gift for our stag. I don't know if he'll wear it, but we shall see.
Right, okay.
It'll be compulsory, surely.
Well, I think so, but the best man's been a little bit weak on that front. So
no, this is again his campaign to replace the best man.
Campaigned to be the.
He's gone round the back of the. The group. You have a group. He's gone round the back of the group to sort of try.
As he said about Chelsea.
Yeah.
If you've got a group of youngsters, you need a little bit of experience. That's my role. It's not my first rodeo.
Manchester, beware. That's all I'm saying. I'll pop out with you for I think half.
I bet you don't.
Half a beer. We'll go from there. No, I will do. Of course I will. Thank you very much for tuning in today. H&J are coming up next. I'll see you tomorrow for Nottingham Forest against Chelsea. And Sunday, Game Day Live takes you round the grounds from Liverpool against Manchester United. Have a good afternoon.